Okay. Dr. Brett Spradlin. We're at Divine Design Natural Health, and we are doing an event tonight called FEMA Camp Summer Edition. This is Survivor. This is the FEMA Summer Camp Edition. So, wait a minute. Is there anyone in this crowd right now? Golf claps all the way around. So let's hurry, let's blaze right into this. Just a couple of on-camera announcements. There'll be plenty of off-camera stuff later. But right now, tonight, anything that we talk about, any of the supplements we talk about tonight, any of the stuff that we mentioned in this PowerPoint, oh yeah, there we go. Isn't that great? The world's blowing up. Look at that. Any of the stuff that we mention will be 10% off at the front desk. If we run out of it, pay for it ahead of time. We'll have more of it next week, assuming that the world doesn't end and that trucks and semis don't stop driving. So that's 10% off all the supplements mentioned, except the Royal Lee Organic stuff. And the Royal Lee Organic stuff, we'll talk about that in a little while. So here we go. This, by the way, is my birthday present to all of you because, hey, the servant, the greatest among you will be the servant of all, right? So this maybe, I put this together thinking, wow, this is going to be one of the most resourceful, one of the most valuable events I've ever done. One of the most valuable sermons I've ever preached, so to speak, and in not just in time and money, but in resources and in, you could say, life insurance. So, isn't today today's Monday? So today, didn't we send people to the moon
No.
for the first time, or is that next Monday?
No.
Oh, they scrubbed it. The technical difficulties for the first time in 50 years that anyone's gone to the moon, right? I just wanted to say a little word to NASA. So thank you, NASA. Thank you, NASA. And James Webb and all the Bob Ross people out there. So tonight we will discuss these reasons right here. These are all the things you need to know about tonight. There's Bob Ross. I didn't know we had that in there. That's funny. Yeah, it's nicely painted. Perfect circle. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. That's another future class. We'll talk more about that. Oops, you caught me. Is this right at the very beginning? We got memes right at the very beginning. Fabulous. I didn't know that. Everyone must choose one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Tonight, you'll learn the pain of discipline so that you don't have the pain of regret later on. Okay, next. Tonight, we will discuss, these are all the things you're going to learn. Reasons to keep your own supply of natural remedies. Number 2, how nutrition will keep you alive during the apocalypse. Number 3, the truth about commercially available store-bought nutraceutical supplements. Number 4, how divine design is uniquely positioned, maybe just to help you through the apocalypse. Number 5, how to replace your entire medicine cabinet with things that will not kill you. If you took a lot of the stuff that's in your medicine cabinet in high enough dosages, what would it do? Kill you. So if you take it in a small dosage, will it still kill you? Just very, very slowly. Correct. That's every medication, every drug you have in your house fits under that category. Number 6, the fastest acting supplements in the Divine Design arsenal. Do I have music playing? Is there music playing somewhere? Hey, can you have somebody kill that? So the fastest acting supplements in the Divine Design arsenal. Number 7, food, water, oils, herbs, supplements, and other absolute necessities that you have to have. Number 8, the protocols that we never suggest. Everybody will want to take pictures of a lot of the stuff on these screens, so I'm just going to, when you go to take a picture, expect me to go like this. So here we go with why we're here. What are we doing? You know, I put this in here because we haven't talked about this in a long time. I've been focused on saving the world from, you know, absolute destruction, and I just forgot about this. Why do I not put this in there anymore? In the sacred service of saving lives ahead of time. Why are we here? We are fearlessly freeing billions of beings through all natural biblical healthcare. That's not a typo. That's biblical healthcare, because a lot of the new age crap you see out there nowadays that puts itself off as natural healthcare is pagan witchcraft. We'll talk more about that later on. Next, please. FEMA Summer Camp. What is it all about? Well, the World Economic Forum, all your buddies over there, led by Klaus Schwab and Yuval Noah Harari, the gay atheist Jew who thinks that you are just useless eaters and hackable animals, and all the multiple world governments, they're now openly publicizing their plans for a satanic new world order. Does anyone in here not know about this? Everybody knows about this. Good. Fabulous. I talk to people all day about this, and they're like, who? What are you talking about? Well, right here. Where you will eat bugs, own nothing, and be happy. They openly admit their plans to distract people from this current agenda through the use of 3 things: drugs, video games, and social media. So why did we put this together? Well, we're trying to wake some people up. You know, in the last 3 years, has anybody noticed the world getting a little nutty? Well, we've been preaching it for years now. I've been in practice 9 years. I've been saying vaccines are bad for a long time. Gig is up. Look around. They've been doing the same crap in the vaccines for decades. It's just a whole lot of people found out what they were doing, finally. And so now people are a lot more awake than ever before. How do we know? Because most of the people that come here as patients are medical people. They're out of medicine. They're coming here to get away from medicine. How many medical background profession people in this room do we have right now? Raise your hands. Dental, medical, five people. A third of the people in this room. Okay, so what are my credentials? This isn't to pump my tires or toot my own horn or anything like that, but let's just talk. I've participated in outdoor activities, studied various aspects of wilderness survival for many, many years. I'm a member of National Ski Patrol for non-ambulatory care in wilderness environments. I've seen a lot of stuff. Okay, BLS, CPR, AED trained, certified, 3 bachelor's degrees, 4 minors. College sucks, yes, it's useless, but I have them. 2 postdoctorate programs and in clinical practice for 9 years. You got to have a lot of paperwork behind you to do something like this, and that's the okay side of college, but unfortunately college has become just government indoctrination centers now that are brainwashing your kids, and if you get them early enough, they'll talk them into gender dysphoria and all kinds of satanic, just nonsense. But to do certain things, you do need to go to school. And to do chiropractic, yes, I did do a 6-hour program in a parking lot at the Holiday Inn on a Saturday, and it took all day. We're seeing miracles daily. We're equipped to handle. Literally, people ask me that. We're seeing miracles daily. We're equipped to handle anything that walks through the door. Okay. Oh, and let me just say a word about National Ski Patrol. Yeah, we don't have ski hills around here, but I used to live in Colorado. And then Michigan and, a lot different environments, but I've lived all over the United States. But when you're trained to keep people alive on a 13,000-foot mountain where there's no ambulance there's no ambulance coming for you anytime soon. So what kind of injuries that can go on and breaks and traumatic injuries and things like that, from chemical burns to broken bones to concussions to all kinds of stuff. You have to know how to take care of yourself and other people. And so it's a very valuable thing. So next. I've lived all over the United States, yes, many different environments, stuff like that. I've dissected some enormous humans. I worked as a tech in an anatomy lab for a long time. So dissecting small animals comes very naturally. Right, Devin? So you and I, what we're going to do later tonight, it's going to be super fun. I can't wait. Next. Then I'm born again, spirit-filled, love to follow Jesus. The word spirit-filled there does not mean that your church plays guitars. That's not what that means. So if you do not know what that means, I would suggest reading the book of Acts, particularly chapter 2. Next. No, be careful who lays hands on you in these strange, strange times, because there is some weird stuff out there. And for instance, there's a place not far from here, around that, we were looking for a place for somebody, and it's kind of we checked out their website. And this goes across the board to Chattanooga, anywhere. You can go and find places that propagate the idea of natural health. And then you look right on their website, and there's pagan idols, and there's demonic statues to pagan gods. And some of the verbiage that they use, if you know what to look for, you can understand what kind of stuff they're reading and what they follow. So just know that when we say we are biblically freeing, we are fearlessly freeing billions of beings through all natural biblical healthcare, we know what we're talking about. There's a lot of New Age practices out there. People are always asking me, where's the person that does what you do in Florida? Good luck. Where's the person that does what you do in California? Well, really good luck. But I digress, because you will not find another biblical natural healthcare center like this, to my knowledge, anywhere in the world. And let's just keep going. So conundrum, the biggest conundrum right now is the greatest product in all of the history of mankind is the restoration of human health. So your governments and your medical societies and your pharmaceutical companies have taken that and made it a commodity, tricked you into thinking poisoning yourself is health, and then making you run around wondering why all your kids are sick. See how that works? Wondering why your grandparents weren't this sick, why the parents who have no cancer have kids with cancer, and they're convinced into thinking that it's genetic, even though the parents didn't have cancer. You follow me? And then everybody donates their money to these BS organizations while they're building hospitals for kids with cancer. All the while, doing what kind of research? to find cures for the last 50 years. But instead of cancer cures, now we have Alzheimer's foundations, right? Now we have MS foundations, and now we have walks and cures and bikes and runs and poops for the cure, right? Do everything you can for the cure. Well, the greatest product in human history, restoration of human health. What do most people do? Still wonder about how much it'll cost, making excuses that being healthy is too expensive. Now, I don't talk to people about money. That's front desk. I never talk to people about money. Hey, you do what you want to do, man. You want to blow your brains out on a new boat, you do it. You want to get a brand new house, you do it. You want to get a $90,000 tricked out Jeep, do it by all means, because we are chomping at the bit and people knocking down the door to get in here. It ain't about the money. It's about getting people better. But you're not going to get the person better unless they want to be here. And if they're addicted to money and addicted to houses and addicted to cars, they don't want to be here. Let them go. So people still wonder how much it's going to cost. How much does it cost to not understand what we do? Right? How much is a knee replacement surgery? How much is a hip replacement? We can do a fraction. You know what? Go grab that little ball off room 1. I want to show everybody this. This is great. So the conundrum is that. And that's like kind of, the joke is it's like cutting a line while Jesus is multiplying the loaves and the fishes. You're like, oh, I got to get mine. We're going to run out soon, right? So here's some common questions regarding supplements and survival. And before we move on, I want to show you this real quick. And thanks to, I can't say his name on camera because he'll get busted. But hey, one of my patients, one of my many patients who are medical, brought this in the other day. Some of you who've already been in the office in the last week or two might know what this is. But just to paint a picture, this is a femoral head from a hip replacement surgery. This is not the spike that goes into your femur after they saw the femoral head off. This is just the head, the ball, the femoral head. So your femur, the big bone of your leg right here, comes up like this, turns this way. There's the neck of the femur, the neck of the femoral head, and then there's a ball. That's what this is. Okay, so it's not the thing coming out at an angle. It's not the spike that drives into your empty femoral bone after they've sawed the head off and sucked the bone marrow out. Brutal enough for you yet? Just this ball right here, it's ceramic. I'll let you pass this around. Go ahead and pass that around. That little ball that's ceramic, just to paint a picture, $4,000. Just that ball. It's ceramic. It's a little baked plate. Pass that around. Tell me what you think. Would you rather put $4,000 into your hip joint or $4,000 into your mouth and rebuild your organs while you're doing it? That's what we do. So why so many products? Well, you can always look at what do I eat, and you can always look at what's in those supplements. The two of the classes that are on the website, we're on 5 different platforms in case they shut one of them down because we've already been banned off of YouTube and Vimeo because we're telling people the truth. They don't like that. So we're on Brighteon and BitChute and Rumble, Facebook Messenger, Facebook, private page, and then we're on Odyssey and Rumble. So how many fluids does your car use? When people say, well, how many products do I have to have? Well, I don't know. How many fluids do you want to run your car on, right? And then how many organs and glands? How many products do I need? Well, I don't know. How many organs and glands do you need? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, neither do I. How many organs and glands do you have? People don't know. Which do you prefer to live without? Well, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, you've already had your gallbladder, your appendix, your tonsils, your uterus, your ovaries. There's 5 organs missing. How many more? Right? Your molars, right? Your wisdom teeth. They take those out. I've seen people with missing 7 organs, and they're still walking. And they're on 17 meds, and they've been sick as a dog for 35 years. They never got any better, and they had 7 organs taken out of their bodies. I don't know how they're living. It's a testament to God and the goodness of God is really what it is. What have you done to rebuild them and maintain them in the last few decades? What do you mean? How do you replace your lungs? You eat lung. If you don't want to eat it, we'll sell it to you in a capsule. But how do you replace your spleen? Same deal. How do you replace your liver? Same deal. How do you replace your heart? Same deal. All the stuff that you can't find at the meat counter at Walmart, or God, forget I said that, Costco, all that stuff that nobody eats anymore that was taken out of the food supply long ago, that's why what we do exists, right? So why so many products? Organs and glands are not in your modern food-like substances on store shelves. Over time, we rebuild your organs. Next point there. There we go. We rebuild your lungs, your kidneys, your brain, your heart, all of it. And we will save you untold amounts of money, heartache, and resources, right? There we go. Why? Why do we do this? Well, you can't live in a house if you don't take care of your temple, right? That's a good one. Write that down. That was a good one. Right there. You can't live in a house. So roughly about 80% of this room, now some of you might have seen this when my friend Dave was here from Fort Myers. He went around and said, hey, raise your hand if you used to eat liver when you were a kid. Every hand goes up. And then he says, okay, raise your hand if you still eat liver now. three or four hands went up. He said that right there is the reason why everyone's dying. And that's also the reason why what we do, like standard process, natural health, stuff like that exists, because we teach people how to rebuild their organs. And the only way you do it, you ain't doing it with herbs. You ain't doing it with essential oils. You're doing it with whole food nutrition, plants and animals. That's it, okay? So in one generation, maybe 5% of people did today. Your grandmother, your great-grandmother, everybody ate liver and ate, kidney pie or sweetbread. Sweetbread was not bread. Sweetbread was animal thymus. How many of you know what sweetbread is? 2 or 3 people, right? Very few people. So that's why we do that. So why so many products? Because you got a lot of stuff in your body that we need to replace, right? So next, why should I know this? Why do I need to know FEMA summer camp, the survivor edition? What are you talking about? Here's the deal. You should have access to your own apothecary of whatever it is you want to do. Supplements, if you want to buy stuff off TV and try to stay alive on that, you can go for it. You can do that. We offer you a better solution. But you need your own apothecary of supplements, herbs, oils, emergency skills, right? Your doctors, your schools, your media, even your churches, unfortunately, are not teaching any type of financial, health, economic preparedness, none of it. None of it. So your survival depends on you and you alone, right? And you do not want to take shelter in the medical house of cards with dependence upon CPAPs, which run off of what? AC power. See where I'm going with this? For your spouse. Inhalers for your kids. Where do your inhalers come from? Along with your surgical masks and your vaccines, right? Yes. Very good. Who said that? Who said? Yeah, Jonathan. Yeah, that's true. But inhalers come from the pharmacy. What's the first place that's going to go down when nobody can get their diabetes meds? Who's going to get looted first? The pharmacy. So let's just be serious. And insulin for yourself. If you're diabetic when crap hits the fan, guess what? You'll be the first ones in the middle of the street stacked up. So you want to get off of the dependence of this nonsense and be able, and don't just, sign it up to, it's high blood pressure. I'm afraid my head's going to blow off, or, oh, my heart's going to explode. No, you've been lied to by people who are speaking demonic witchcraft over you and your health. You've been lied to. Your head's not going to fall off and your heart is just not going to explode. Stop eating crap food and stop taking the crap drugs. And guess what? Guess what will happen? You'll get healthier faster. Does that make sense? I know, it's revolutionary. No one's ever told you those. Next. So, remember, Texas had a snowstorm in February, right? People went crazy, right? And people went crazy. We could be affected by tornadoes, other disasters, who knows? Who knows? Build up your nutritional bank account ahead of time. Pharmacies will take a deuce the first thing out of the gate. To avoid government-sponsored FEMA camps, you must be self-reliant. So, okay, next question is then, well, how does nutrition affect my health? Well, of course, if something happens, people run to the grocery stores. What's the first stuff they're taking? Canned, boxed, processed junk. Are they looting the vegetables and the produce? They're not eating it in the first place. So that'll be left behind. So you'll be okay with that. So just my plan and yours, well, no, I better not tell you my plan. You'll steal it. You'll go around. I just drive around to all the grocery stores and pick up the green stuff. No, that probably won't work either, but you get my point. Why should I know this? Well, there's many reasons. But how does nutrition affect my health? Here it is, right here. If you've never heard this before, write this down. Because this, take a picture, whatever. This right here, these 2 questions I'm gonna ask you, and the answers will revolutionize everything you know about nutrition, because you'll start to realize, I've never heard this before. But wait, I have. Your cells are dying every day. This is the most important thing you'll ever hear about nutrition. If you understand this, this will change everything that goes in your face. Your cells are dying, right? Everybody agrees with that statement? Yes. Everybody knows your cells are turning over. Kids grow faster because their cells are turning over faster. Right? If your cells are dying, though, why aren't you dead? Answer, because your cells are replacing themselves. So that leads to the next logical question. Well, what do your cells use to replace themselves? The food you consume. So now, if people want to build a house, would it be a better idea, a temple, so to speak, would it be a better idea to use duct tape and cardboard, or would it be a better idea to use drywall and bricks and 2x4s? The first idea or second idea? Second idea. What are most people doing? First idea. So that right there, how does nutrition affect my health? Well, you tell me. How many funerals you been to in the last year? Are your parents getting sicker or healthier? Everybody here in this practice, when they come in 5 years, they're healthier than they were 5 years before. In a year, you'll be healthier. In 2 months, you'll be healthier than you were 5 years ago. We turn back the clock, brother. We do it. So you do not want synthetic megadose nutraceuticals derived from Rockefeller Petroleum. You just don't. All the crap you're buying in the stores, your Rite Aid, your CVS, all the crap, Rockefeller Petroleum. It is a petroleum derivative. I'll prove it to you later. Next. Your government recognizes the recommended daily allowance as the amount that will keep soldiers alive, not that which you actually need. That war machine must keep turning, my friend. So the RDA, that's what the RDA is. So don't be looking at the milligrams and the international units. That has nothing to do with health. That has to do with somebody that can pull a trigger. Next. The government recognizes fractions of the vitamin complex as the complete complex. Royal Lee said it this way: you can give a chemist a watch. He can analyze it for content, then hit it with a hammer and give it back to him. Although it's the same watch, it's now lost its function. A nutritional concentrate is an organized mechanism that has a function. If you break that function by separating the parts, the body can no longer use the mechanism. He said that back in the 30s or 40s. We'll talk more about him in a minute. So here's the most popular commercially available store-bought nutraceutical supplements in order. So this is most of the stuff that 90% of the population has in their pantry or in their cupboard. Here goes. Vitamin D. Next. Just peel through them, man. Fish oil, CoQ10, magnesium, turmeric. We're going to talk about that today. Multivitamins, probiotics, vitamin C, B, B12, calcium, and then the ever-popular cure for everything under the sun, including cancer, AIDS, and the COVID scamdemic, apple cider vinegar. I hear it every day. What about baking soda? What about apple cider vinegar? Yes, it cures everything. Take all of it you can get. Drink it, pound it. Just drink all of it. I'm just kidding. But I hear it all the time. There's no panacea for every disease. Does everyone agree with that? Does everybody get that? All right. Here's points of interest. If you do the 500 international units of, say, something like alpha tocopherol or just 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, they are not the same as the actual vitamin E or vitamin C complexes, period. So there's the complexes, and then there's just what the government will allow you to call vitamin E. In this case, the government will allow alpha tocopherol, which is a single little part of the whole complex of vitamin E, to be called vitamin E so that it can be manufactured in a lab. Because that's the easiest part that they can throw together in a lab when you get your atheist buddies together to cook up a bunch of chemicals. Hey, how can we still call this vitamin E? I got it. We'll just call it alpha tocopherol. It's like taking the fan belt off a car and going, there's the engine, because it's part of the engine, right? You can still label it that by law. All natural or organic labels simply mean it was taken from a natural source. Well, no problem. Petroleum's natural. Pretty soon they'll be taking it from corpses, because corpses are natural. Pretty soon they'll be taking it from dog poo, because dog poo's natural. Pretty soon they'll be feeding you bugs. How many of you know that? They're trying, right? They're planning on it. Next. It's not food. It's incomplete product that's been synthetically concentrated and produced by a pharmaceutical subsidiary, a company that operates as a shell of the pharmaceutical companies. So when you go to get your magnesium or your vitamin B12 or your vitamin B complex or your vitamin C at Rite Aid or Costco, you're actually buying it from a pharmaceutical company. You just don't know it. Because who has the ability to concentrate and manufacture that amount of vitamin A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Pharmaceutical companies, right? Unless it comes from a whole food source, which we'll get into next. I got to roll through this or we really are going to get out of here at 3 in the morning. So that is your government's disastrous handling of healthcare. Tell them to stay away from everything. Everything they touch goes to crap. However, your body is divinely designed to utilize food in its whole form. Here's the deal. If you consume incomplete foods, such as refined tocopherols, all the missing factors are borrowed from the tissue reserves in order to make the partial food usable. So sooner or later, depending on the patient's past eating habits, there will be a deficiency of not just one nutrient, but many nutrients, because they all work together. Because just like that fan belt there are other parts of that car that depend on and touch and come into contact with that fan belt. So when you take a fake fan belt, you've got to have all these other little parts lined up that you have to suck out of your body's bones and teeth and reserves in order to run the fan belt. Does that make sense? So what happens when you take a fractionated, concentrated 1,000 milligram vitamin C tablet? You're destroying yourself faster, which is why the pharmaceutical subsidiary companies are selling you crap to get you sicker so that you'll rely on their drugs later on. You think the same company is going to sell you a vitamin, Centrum, which is made by what? Pfizer. You think the same company is going to sell you a vitamin that will render their drugs obsolete? Or do you think they're going to sell you a vitamin that will eventually push you to taking a drug? So people come in here, they've taken Centrum Silver for 35 years. They're wondering why they have arthritis. I know exactly why they have arthritis. Because they're trusting the same companies that just killed 2 billion people with the vaccine. Go smoke that. Next. Summary. Here's the summary. So high potency, isolated, megadosed, commercially available chemical, pharmaceutical, petroleum nutraceuticals created by pharmaceutical Nazi medicine voodoo labs could be called safe drugs that create additional downstream problems. These are actually, you're taking drugs that are just safe drugs. They're concentrated megadose nutraceuticals created from petroleum. They're just safe drugs. They're drugs with no side effects. But they actually do have side effects because they cost you nutritional downstream problems. Your head just won't blow off. You know what I mean? Royal Lee said it like this. Royal Lee, the founder of Standard Process, right? Using high potency, I say, synthetic megadosed petrochemical vitamins is like whipping a tired horse. He will still be stimulated to run faster, but sooner or later he collapses. Because why? You never fed him. Fabulous. So one example, fish oil. What is fish oil? Well, cod liver oil is the original fish oil everyone used to have access to. Let me think. In your generation, a teacher would stand there with a line of students and take cod liver oil and pour it on you. You remember this? How many people in here remember this? Pictures of teachers pouring cod liver oil, cod liver oil, cod liver oil, using the same spoon, no less. Right? That was your generation. My generation, they come to your homeroom and go, here's your fluoride. Here's your fluoride. Here's your fluoride, right? Yeah. See? Makes me sick. But yeah, I remember that. If a teacher today gave cod liver oil to a student, she'd be put in jail. Just smoke that for a minute. 50 to 60% of the total dry weight of the adult brain is lipid, and about 1/3 of those lipids are omega-3, EFAs, essential fatty acids, mostly essential fatty acid called DHA. There's DHA and EPA. I don't want to get too complicated, but just take this, know this. Most people are today mildly developmental and having a hard time getting through life because 50 years ago, somebody demonized animal fat and told you eat vegan butter because we made it in a lab. Margarine, it's better. Now they just changed the name. It's not margarine anymore. They just call it vegan butter, right? Burps from rancid fish oils do not happen with the stuff we sell here because the stuff we won't go into it now. But people are like, I can't take fish oil. I burp it up. Well, you burped it up because you bought stuff that was on a shelf at Rite Aid for 12 years, and it's rotten. It's fish oil, so it goes rotten, right? Yeah, so I don't need to take a fish oil supplement because I already eat fish. Well, the only exemption from taking fish oil is if you eat like wild-caught sushi 3 or 4 times a week, and I don't know anybody that's doing that. So here's another thing I want to hit you with. Here's the big thing, endocannabinoid system. What does this have to do with? Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. CBD. What about CBD? They've relegated CBD, and I've got classes on it, the whole 9 yards. If you want to see my ABCs of CBD class, it's like a 2-hour-long class all about what's happening with CBD. Well, now with CBD, that's an isolated thing, and, well, we'll get into it here. Everybody's talking about it, but they've relegated it to being just a thing for pain and nausea, okay? So they've just completely taken the power out of a whole plant. They've boiled it down right to CBD, an isolated nutrient, right? And then made everybody think it's just for pain. So there's 2 things that affect the endocannabinoid system. Brand new system of the body discovered by science within the last 10, 15 years, by the way. Didn't know it was there until they started doing research on cannabinoids or cannabis. 2 things affect it. Essential fatty acids like CBD and cod liver oil. And what's the other one? Chiropractic adjustments and PEMF. Two things affect that system. So chiropractic adjustments, we'll talk about that here in a minute, but I just wanted to get that through. So the question is it hemp oil or is it CBD? Well, hemp oil is the whole kind of spectrum deal. CBD is just one of about 70 cannabinoids, I believe. They're discovering more all the time. That's in the whole plant. There's two different types of hemp oil products we use, a bunch of different CBD products that we use. We'll get to that later. But well, I saw a story the other day, Nadia told me about it, and she was saying this previously convicted guy that got convicted for possession. Actually, we're going to put this video in the eugenics class because I think it's just perfect, in the eugenics agendas class. But he had been convicted for possession of marijuana back in the day, and now here he was trying to do a dispensary. They wouldn't let him have a dispensary because he got convicted for, possession of marijuana back in the day. So it was like everybody got behind this guy, and it's the American dream, and he wants to own a business and this and that. So it was just, the government has so co-opted cannabis by genetic modification, and now that they've figured out how to regulate it and tax it, and everybody's behind it. So now you've got the hippies, the old school, good-natured hippies, shaking hands with the pharmaceutical guys that suppressed all of the research on cannabis so they could go make Marinol and patent it. And all these guys are now bending over for the pharmaceutical companies, and they're doing programs like, pot for shots and joints for jabs, where if you come to the dispensary and you get your COVID shot, then we give you, joints. I mean, it's astronomically like what is going on. They even suckered the hippies. And I love hippies. I do. I really love hippies. I miss them. But anyway, open Grey's Anatomy. You want to know about this chiropractic adjustment thing? Oh, yeah, that was good. Yeah, go back to that. Oh, I love the hippies. Who put that in there? That's classic. Okay. Yeah, see? Within 5 years, it just all went totally turned. How'd that happen? Okay, next. Sacral plexus. Look at all this. All the nerves that go down your leg. Chiropractic stimulates the endocannabinoid system. Guess what? I'm a chiropractor. I love this. I think it's great. So when people are like, well, I don't know, I'm afraid of this or afraid of that. You have been going to medical doctors that have been cutting you and removing your organs and putting you on petrochemical poisons for decades. And you're going to balk and get all squeamish when I come after your neck. Shut up. Sacral plexus, boom. See the power in that? You do one adjustment there, you've stimulated billions of cells. The only way you can beat that is peeing on an electric fence. That's the only way. Next. Brachial plexus. Okay, okay. I just lost my microphone. So when you hit somebody's shoulder or when you adjust somebody's neck, guess what? Look at what you're hitting here. The arteries, the nerves, the veins, the ligaments, the tendons, the muscles, the bones, the discs, the vertebral bodies, the tonsils, the lymph nodes. Boom, everything through there. So don't tell me that chiropractic is not miraculous. If you want more information on that, the Greatest Healing Profession class on the website, you can go check that out. But those are just some, easily searchable images online that just show you the power of that's your nerves going into your muscles. Those nerves run your blood vessels and your lymph nodes, and that's how you feel this and this and this. People are so spaced out about chiropractic, but they'll go get manis and petties and get the top of their head dyed with black all day long. But one of the best things that could possibly be happening to their bodies, they're afraid that they're going to get big fat knuckles. I'll talk more about that here in a minute. We'll go back to that. So there's a reason why most chiropractors only adjust neck and back. You want to know why? Because insurance only covers neck and back. Just know that. Why and how should I change my lifestyle? Well, we cancel your surgeries, we slash your prescriptions, we get your life back. I don't want this to sound too much like a commercial, but we have to answer these questions. People ask, how do I change my lifestyle? Well, we'll help you. Next. Program should quickly move from once a week to once every 4 or 6 weeks. We're into maintenance here. We're into picking things up before you even feel the symptoms. Your body will tell us what's up. That's how smart your body is. Not us, your body. Next. You regain and then maintain your health in an ever-increasingly toxic world. More shots, more chemicals, more crap, and every bathroom you walk into has a little cleaned by Clorox sign. And you're going to wonder at some point, you're going to be like, why can't I breathe anymore? Next. The detoxification methods we use can literally save your life many times over in a fraction of the time expected. You want to know how? Read the testimonial wall out there. There's a sheet for every single thing we do here, folder, I should say, for every single thing we do here. Foot spa, sauna, pulse, laser, chiropractic, nutrition, you name it. There's folders out here with testimonials that would drop your jaw. Next. This is nutritional salvation. Diet is the word die followed by a cross. I'll let you write that down. Next. In a shizzle hits the fizzle scenario, you do not want to be dependent upon pharmaceuticals, oxygen tanks, CPAPs. Why should I change my lifestyle? That's enough right there for me. How about you? Next. So ionic detox, what's it do? It gets all the food, air, and water organs energized and oxygenated up, like your bowels, your lungs, your kidneys. Everything that goes into your body, food, air, water, you have to process with your bowels, your lungs, and your kidneys in that order. That's how it goes. I know, nobody's ever told you this. It's crazy. I know it. Next, infrared sauna. Sweat out months or years of toxic accumulation. People hop in there and go, well, I didn't sweat the first time. I go, oh, you will. You've just been sitting in, central air conditioning since 1987. You haven't sweated. You haven't been outside, honey, because they told you the sun was going to kill you. So guess what? A couple, 2, 3 times later, they come in and go, I never knew you could sweat like that. Yeah, I knew it was coming. There you go. Infrared sauna. Boom. We speed up the time. We cut years off of you doing it on your own because you can't do it on your own. People don't have the knowledge to do this because why? You can't find it on the internet anymore. Guess why? Google. PEMF, 5G and EMF toxicity, broken bones, dental abscesses, overall well-being. Guess what? In a shizzle hits the fizzle scenario, you're going to be very pleased that we have one of these. And like if you can't walk or something because you're screwed, your back, your neck, your shoulder up or something like that, guess who your best friend is in a situation like that? Is it the ER doctor or the chiropractor? Yeah. So, cancer, weight loss. Oh, right here. Cancer, weight loss, all the kinds of stuff that people, skin issues, things like that, infrared sauna. This is how we take care of broken bones, dental abscesses. How? Because the pulse penetrates into places that you can't get to. It penetrates into places you can't go with a scalpel. Very valuable. Cold laser, we stimulate your DNA to heal tissue. This is stuff people just don't even know about. Never heard of it. It's not paid for by insurance. That's why you've never heard of it. That's why the greatest insurance plans will ensure that you are sicker than hell. Correct. So what about my online superstar supplements from Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so? And there are plenty of Dr. So-and-sos out there. Here's the rule to live by. Ready? If it's in a U.S. commercial store, check the box for toxic. If it's advertised on Devil Vision, check the box for toxic. If there is an advertisement for it on your one-eyed idiot box monster in the middle of your living room, millions of dollars had to go into the packaging and processing and R&D behind that product so that they could trick you into buying it. Name one thing that's advertised on television that's actually good for you. I'll wait here. Get back to me. Next, white label supplements are the new Amazon craze. White label supplements, what do I mean? Dr. So-and-so tries to rip off another company by going to China and getting an easier distributed product for the synthesized megadose nutraceutical. Then he puts his wrapper on it, his name, sells it at a lower price, and now you've got all these things, all these white label supplements with a doctor's name and picture, saturating the market, but it's all just same crap from a pharmaceutical company, just with somebody else's picture on it. It's Amazon. We sell healthcare professional only stuff for a reason. Your insurance won't pay for this for a reason. Keep going. Sickest people I know have the best insurance plans because they cover drugs, surgery, and procedures that lead to what? Say that again. They cover drugs and surgery or procedures that lead to? Name a procedure that doesn't lead to a drug or a surgery. I'll wait here. So there's a bunch of questions that I expect to have answered by the end of this. Next. Muscle testing is instant because of your taste buds causing an instantaneous bioelectromechanical, magnetic, chemical transfer of energy through your nervous system to your organs and glands, resulting in increased strength in the muscles connecting them all. Plus, one of our secret sauces is prayer. and anointing with oil. Isn't that nice? Going back to, you won't see that in the New Age pagan workshops, right? Dr. John Courtney of Standard Process, he was somebody second in command only to Royal Lee. He said it this way. He said, it's not a patented process. How does Standard Process make this stuff? Read what he said right there. It is not a patented process. If it's patented, guess who else knows about it? Ever heard of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office? So if the USPTO knows about it, guess who else knows about it? See where I'm going with this? So John Courtney said it's not patented, but we don't talk about it. Nobody else knows how to do it. It's quite complicated. That's what I'm telling you is very valuable. Next. Standard Process started in 29. Royal Lee was a visionary and pioneer along with Dr. Weston A. Price, Francis Pottinger, George Goodhart, a lot of the same people that we talk about regularly, that I talk about with all the food classes and all the medicine all the natural medicine classes, this and that. So I'll go on to a little bit of a thing that I did here for you guys just for this class. I've never presented this to anywhere. I've never seen this anywhere. Here goes. Anytime you see the word cataplex, oh, wait, sorry. What's so special? Over the years, there have been some very underhanded, back please. Yeah, over the years, there have been some very underhanded attempts to crack the code of Standard Process by the aforementioned Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so to try to come up with their own way to crack Standard Process because they know there's only one company that can do this stuff because it's not patented. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod, if you know what I'm saying. So Royal Lee created the first multivitamin called Catalin in 1929. The term still lives on today. The word multivitamin, you know that word because of Royal Lee. His Cataplex A through G, basically Cataplex A, B, C, D, E, F, G, products were introduced in 1934. So we're talking 100 years, almost 100 years. Anytime you see the word Cataplex in the name, Dr. Lee combined the best nutritional sources from 1, plants, and 2, animals for each vitamin. So that scripture in Genesis where it says, and he called forth from the dust of the earth, plants and animals. Now, honestly, I don't know if Royal Lee knew what he was doing, but he definitely knew what he was doing in doing this because he took Cataplex A, B, C, D, E, F, G, plant and animal, vitamin A, carrot, vitamin A, animal, kidney. Vitamin B, the best place to find it in the plant world is nutritional yeast. Best place to find it in the animal world, liver, bovine liver. C, you're going to find it in buckwheat, reishi mushroom, shiitake mushroom. In animal kingdom, you're going to find it in bone and adrenal. Okay? Cataplex D, I looked. I'm still looking. I don't know what. Cataplex E, yeah, everybody should take a picture of that. Thank you, Sue. Yeah, everybody should take, this is, I don't know anywhere else you're going to see this. This is bad to the bone right here. Pea vine, Spanish moss, Cataplex E. Cataplex F, flaxseed, carrot, and prostate and liver and orchic. And Cataplex G, wheat germ, and then animals, liver and brain. That right there, you will never see that anywhere else. I guarantee it. Next. Or wait, hold on, actually, if everybody wants to get a picture of that. So, why do we do supplements the way we do supplements? Because you ain't eating this. And when people come in here and they say, well, I eat healthy. No, you don't. No, you don't. You eat healthy according to the newspaper and according to the TV. That's who you eat healthy to. And guess what? I got news for you. This right here is not newspaper and this is not TV. So we're going to change your mind about how you live and how you survive, right? How many of you started here as how many of you are here as patients? How many of you changed? How many of you thought you ate healthy when you came here? Every hand. Yeah, you're back there going, eh. How many of you realized that you didn't eat healthy when you came here? That's what I thought. Next. What's so special? Well, Royal Lee was putting mushrooms in products in the 30s, long before mushrooms became cool. The same is true for echinacea. You all know what it is because of Royal Lee. Echinacea, you only have heard of echinacea because of Royal Lee. You didn't know that. I know. I didn't know that either. But Cataplex C in 1934 contained them both. Mushrooms and echinacea in 1934. Okay? Royal Lee made the first intestinal supplement in the U.S. It's called lactic acid yeast. I use it every day in 1939. You are all aware of probiotics by now because of that supplement. Next. Rowley pioneered protomorphogen extract products in the 50s. Protomorphogen, PMG, think DNA extract. Think he was doing this back in the 50s. Okay, next. This is something, this little section right here of why so special. What is so special about standard process? You'll never see this anywhere else. Rowley made the first RNA supplement, ribonucleic acid. And we're not talking mRNA vaccines. We're talking RNA, like ribonucleic acid protein synthesis stuff from nutritional yeast. In 1952, it's a major component of conjuplex, we'll talk about later, to make white blood cells and RNA. It's also in ligaplex 1 and 2 to support protein healing. We'll talk about that later too. He preached that calcium was essential to the human immune system, way ahead of everyone else. Way ahead of everyone else. Next, he foresaw the autoimmune disease epidemic before autoimmune was a word. He called it self-autophagy, or self-eating, if I'm not mistaken. But that was in the 40s, before anyone even coined the term autoimmune. So why do you think I'm teaching a class called You Don't Have an Autoimmune Disease? Right? If you go to the Autoimmune Society of the United States or whatever, like you'll see each day there's new autoimmune conditions coming out. You'll never keep up with it. Your specialists will never keep up with it. They will just tell you you have an autoimmune condition of the blood or the tissue of the body somewhere, the brain. If it's autoimmunity of the pancreas, it's this. If it's autoimmunity of the blood, it's this. If it's autoimmunity of the spleen, it's this. If it's autoimmunity of the lungs, there's names for all of them. Different tissues of the body. Guess what? They're almost out of tissues of the body. They're breaking it down to autoimmune of each type of cell within the tissues of the body. That's how messed up this is, because they won't acknowledge this. So your specialist won't even keep up on your autoimmune disease. He can't. Think about it. So, Complex B, core, is the most concentrated desiccated liver product in the SP, the entire SP arsenal. Okay? Now, this is where we're going. This is going to be fun. Oh, yeah. Pictures? There we go. Next. Understanding drainage and detoxification. Here is the thing that so many people, if you get this, this is probably the second most valuable thing out of this whole deal. Check this out. Your body, drainage and detoxification. If you have a chemical invasion, or you have metals, you're huffing gas down at the raceway, or if you're washing up in hand sanitizer all day, whatever goes on your body goes in your body. Whatever goes on your skin ends up in your blood. So like when I talked about women dyeing their hair black, you do a foot spa later on, guess what? The water's black. It goes through your scalp, into your brain, yes, into your bloodstream, all the way through, and guess what? You'll see it. So drainage, every time I teach a class, accident. There it is. Every time. Sirens going crazy. All the EMTs, paramedics, they know what's going on. Talk to an EMT or a paramedic. Ask them what's going on with all the strokes. Ask them what's going on with all the myocarditis. Ask them. Go ahead. So when you understand drainage and detox, you understand that, think 5 things. Think this. Everybody repeat after me. Pee, poo, breath, sweat, blood. Pee, poo, breath, sweat, blood. Perfect. You know what you just did? You just detoxed. All over my room. Knock it off. So pee, poo, breath, sweat, blood. Now, guys do the first 4, women do all 5. Well, I don't know. Now it's 2022. Guys could do all 5. Menstruating persons. Yeah. Oh, and lactating. Yes. Men are stepping up to the plate in 2022, let me tell you. But when you pee, you poo, you breathe, you sweat, you bleed, you're pushing stuff out of your body. So when you have this, go ahead, Jonathan. When you have these symptoms here, guess what? When you're peeing, you're pooing, you're breathing, you're sweating, or you're bleeding, guess what? If I, as the government or Mr. Pharmaceutical, Pharmakia, blood doctor, voodoo, witchcraft, Babylonian mystic, if I decided to label all of those a new disease and make you afraid of all of this through fear, right, then I could prescribe or maybe even make it over the counter crap that you'll take for the rest of your life because you think coughing and sneezing is now a disease. When it's really the acts of your divinely designed body trying desperately to keep you alive. Understanding drainage and detox, if you understand that every cell in your body has to bring stuff in, process it, and push it out, you will never think of these things as problems again. So coughing and sneezing what they did? Yeah, they relabeled the flu 2.5 years ago, suckered everybody through witchcraft on the television set to roll up their sleeve and consent to mass murder lethal injections. That's what they did. That's how we got banned off YouTube like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. But this right here is sinus congestion, right? Or this right here, think of this as hot flashes, dysmenorrhea, because when you have hot flashes, when you have toxic fluid in your body that can't go anywhere because you ate sugar and bread and cake and candy and pasta and noodles and artificial sweeteners all day long for 50 years, and then you can't get that hot fluid out of your body because your drainage and detoxification channels are clogged like Loretta Lynn's pipes. Think about it. What's going to happen? You're going to have, if you have hot toxic fluid, right, building up, is your temperature in your body going to go up or go down? That's why you never hear of cold flashes. It's toxic fluid that has to get out of your body. You've never heard, and your great-grandmother never had hot flashes. Guaranteed. It's a brand new thing. Brand new thing. So these are not diseases. So here's a list of your popular Rockefeller medicine petrochemical poisons in your medicine cabinet. Are you ready? And you might want to take pictures of this too. So like aspirin, used to treat inflammation, fever, and pain. Many, and natural alternative, there's many. Just a couple I listed there. There's too many, okay? But acetaminophen, aka Tylenol, ibuprofen, Motrin, and Advil. Now keep on this screen here for a minute, Jonathan. I want somebody start looking through the used to treat column, not the second column, the one in the middle, and start telling me if any of those are actually diseases. I'm going to ask somebody here in a minute. Hydrocortisone cream, these are all things that go by many, many, many different names. We can't possibly list them all here, but like the antihistamines, the big ones are like Benadryl, Claritin, Zyrtec, calamine lotion, rubbing alcohol, melatonin, thermometer. That's not a drug, but that's just something that people keep, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. That's just something people keep in their medicine cabinets. These are like the top 20 or 30 things that you're going to find when you open your medicine cabinet, okay? Decongestants like Sudafed, Dayquil, Robitussin. Used to treat, all this stuff that's used to treat. Are any of those diseases? Are those symptoms of your body doing what it's supposed to do? Notice these right here. Pain, pain, pain. Redness, itching, swelling. So really any inflammation, right? Itching and pain, minor cuts, pain, itching. Bacterial skin infections, detecting fevers, we'll talk about that. Stuffy nose, sinus pain. So basically what we did was we just labeled symptoms as a disease that then we can sell you a product for that will make you sicker to begin with than you were at the beginning, right? There are many natural alternatives. We'll talk about a lot of skin stuff, colloidal silver chase tree, calcium lactate, all this stuff. We'll talk about that. Go to page 2. Check this out. Oh, and the thermometer, the dangers of fevers. Let's just get this out there too while we're talking about it. Everybody's sick to death thinking about fevers. Well, my kid had a 102.7. Are you sure it wasn't a 102.9? I mean, that's a big difference. Because people have been so brainwashed to think that your body is so stupid, it will cook its own brain. Fevers are your friend. Stop believing people who tell you to shut off your kid's fever. As long as you don't have him wrapped in a blanket and stuffed in a microwave, his body's not going to get too hot to cook its own brain. I promise you. Does that sound logical to you? Right. So fevers are your friends. People all the time are freaking out about their kids having a fever. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let their body do what it says to do, what it has to do. Eye drops, itchy, tired, dry eyes. I could not tell you how many people come in here. They said, I have dry eyes. Do you use eye drops? Yeah. Well, it sounds like the eye drops aren't working, part 1. And part 2, it sounds like your eye drops are causing problems. Usually this happens after their body starts getting healthy and after they start eating better. Then their body starts rejecting what? The drug. Their body starts getting smart enough to go, stop putting that crap in my eyes. So eye drops. Visine. You ever put a drop of Visine in somebody's water? Watch what happens. Makes them sicker than a dog. And you're putting it in your eyes. It's crazy. Tums and Rolaids, heartburn, acid indigestion, upset stomach. I got an idea. Let's give people drugs that will shut off their digestion so they can't digest their food. I wonder what's going to happen later when they have massive nutritional deficiencies from not being able to absorb what they just ate, even though the food was fake to begin with. Small cuts, colloidal silver, vapor rub, many Young Living essential oils. We'll talk about that. Oragel. How do you get rid of your Oragel? Well, we've got tons of options. But the herbal throat spray, clove essential oil, Biodent, tooth pain, stuff like that. How do you fix diarrhea? Boom. How do you fix laxative problem or constipation stuff? Boom. Now, why would somebody have diarrhea or constipation? Why is that one of the top-selling drugs in the nation? Why? Maybe they're eating crap food. Yeah. Yep. Diaper rash cream, redness, warmth, and pain. What do you think the diaper rash cream could be caused by? Or the diaper rash could be caused by? Could it be the Johnson & Johnson coated with arsenic talcum powder that was just discovered a little while back? Or baby powder that was just discovered a while back? Huh?
The diaper itself made in China.
Could be the diaper itself made in China from what kind of plastic? And what's the plastic again? Petroleum, right? So the diaper rash, it's funny because they call it a rash because it's in the shape of the diaper, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's how it got its name. I mean, I don't have any kids, but it's pretty simple, right? Sunscreen. Well, you're afraid of sun. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to get sick. We'll talk about sunburns because sunburns are just a nutritional deficiency that you've never heard of. Antibiotic ointment will kill your neosporin. We got many, many, many. I mean, I would like to put down one thing and say, look, if you're going to cover your kids and try to smother them with vapor rub, just use this. I'd love to put down one thing and make it easier for you, but it's not that simple. I will explain why. So, pretty cool, huh? Points of interest. Oh, and here's one that's, we might talk about this later. The liquid bandage or the clotting agents like New Skin. Some bandages they sell now have clotting agents in them. The clotting agents, I mean, if you're bleeding out, yes, use them, I guess, if you have them on hand. But the clotting agents, I'll tell you where those come from. And they're all used to treat antiseptic treatment, waterproof bandages, scrapes, minor cuts, you know, like New Skin, stuff like that. I've used that back in the day before I knew any better. But there's better options. And we'll talk about some of those later on. And if you have questions about some of these, write them down, because I don't necessarily know that we're going to come back to this. But you should take pictures of this, definitely. Next. So points of interest, things we got to talk about. As a physician, I'm supposed to encourage you to greedily stockpile all these stupid products in your prescription meds. No, I'm not going to do that. See previous events. Because the meds, in a grid down, shizzle hits the fizzle scenario, you're going to be poisoning yourself more while you're eating boxed ramen. I'm not into that. So I'm just going to say, let's get you to the point where your body rejects the medications, right? And give you better options in case you do need to actually disinfect a cut or something. So it's ultimately your decision, but we, like in my home, we have strict policies. These products are not, none of those products on those tables, we don't even allow it in the house. There are no pharmaceutical meds or over-the-counter meds in my house. There just won't, but it's part of the policy. Like there will be no television and there will be none of these products. Outside of an ER, the term life-saving medication is as legitimate as the 2020 selection. Right, Gordon? Right? There you go. Good. Decide ahead of time what you're willing and not willing to do in an emergency situation. If you are one of these people that have to run to the emergency room every time your kid gets a boo-boo, then this is not for you. You're not going to like this. Next. So the fear of death drives many to seek unnecessary medical intervention, mostly because many people have zero assurance of where they're headed after death, right? I hate to say it, but it's true. Know your God or suffer the consequences of misappropriated faith, such as in the COVID's scamdemic that just rolled out, right? Place no faith in your pharmacy remaining open or on your dependence upon the above products. So we've already built the case that we've been duped into having all this Rockefeller medicine crap in our medicine cabinet, thinking it's helping us, right? But now I'm kind of building the case for get rid of this crap and make room for something that's going to rebuild your organs rather than poison you further and delay your healing in a grid down type of scenario, right? And because the pharmacies are going to be closed, you better not want any of this stuff because it's not going to be there. In a grid down thing like this, anything that could potentially make you sick could potentially make you dead. Nothing we sell here could make you sick. Your kids, your dogs could eat it, drink it, pound it, snort it. It's not going to hurt them. I know that's a stretch. Most people they're so used to thinking like, oh, if I take too much of this, how much of this can I take? I say, eat the whole bottle. What? Eat the whole damn bottle. It won't kill you. And they're just like, you can't get it around their head because they've just been thinking forever and ever, like, oh, I took my pills for 45 years, and if I took one of those too much, it'd kill me, it'd knock me over. Yeah, I know, because that's poison. This isn't poison, okay? Buyer beware. Use the above products only in a dire emergency. I don't even allow them in my home. Next. He who takes a medicine, very famous surgeon, must heal twice. Once from the sickness, once from the medicine. William Osler, you might want to know who he is. So here's the trip to the bank right here. Here's the top 14 fast-acting supplements. Now, I do this knowing that you could just run up to the front desk and say, I want all these, I want all these, I want all these. But, I'm doing this for you so that you know, A, patients who are already here, you're on a bunch of these. B, patients who are thinking about being here, and for future posterity who's come across this video, this very valuable, timely video, they're going to go, that's something that I need in my bug out bag or my medical cabinet or my natural health cabinet. Okay, so 2 reasons. Turmeric forte, inflammation. Nervogesic, California poppy are great things for healthy pain response. But the problem here, the thing you have to ask is, why is the inflammation there and why is the pain there? Don't just try to get rid of the inflammation. Don't just try to get rid of the pain, or else you might just take a Vicodin or a hydrocodone, right? There's no reason to get rid of the pain or the inflammation. However, let's say, you're in the middle of the night and you just got really bad period cramps and you got to get some sleep. Guess what? That's your answer right there. You already know what the problem is. It's not going to kill you. It's not like, oh, I've got this splitting, headache in my brain and I don't know what the problem is. Yeah, shutting off the pain to that would be a horrible idea, right? But if you know what the pain is, you sprained an ankle and you just want to get through the day, right there. So the problem is that people want to shut off the inflammation and shut off the pain. Those things are your friends. Rhodiola and ginseng, that's fatigue and exhaustion relief. Ginkgo forte, mental clarity and focus. Zypan, digestive disorder. Gastrix and ochrapepsin E3, stomach soothing support. Those, you can take them or you can split the capsules open. Shh, thank you. You can split the capsules, throw them in water, pound it. It'll coat your internal, fixes your gastroesophageal burning, stuff like that. Colax, bowel regularity and support, right? If you got to blow the doors off, take some of that. Allerplex, Antronex, healthy histamine response. Calvaforte, calming agent and stress support. RNA, balance and concentration and focus and memory. Herbal throat spray. That is the only supplement in this whole entire list that works instantaneously. Instantaneously. And you can replace your chloroseptic and all the other crap that I grew up on with herbal throat spray. And it's delicious. Kids love it. And it works. Adrenal desiccated. That's your adrenal support for the stressed out time. Everybody's wearing masks and waving rainbow flags. Number 13. Bronch Effect Phytosynergist, instant lung support. That's a liquid, you can pound it, or it's a tablet. You can take it, you crush it, you can snort it, do whatever you want to do. Number 14 is Ligaplex 2 and Goticola. That's for musculoskeletal repair. If you sprain an ankle, if you break a bone, something like that, this is someplace to start. Now, I say that to say this. I do muscle testing, so we figure out of all the 60, all the 60 or 70 options that we have for each one of these things, how do we dial it in, and how are we able to figure out which one of those 60 or 70 or 80, or if it's a heart thing, guess what? We've got hundreds of supplements that help the heart. So how can we dial it in and focus it? Through muscle testing. So you're not just taking, here, try this protocol, or here, try this. You're never going to hear me go, well, let's try this for a little while. You're going to hear me go, your body wants this. That's what you're going to hear me say. So it's very sure, it's very certain, it's very dialed in and laser focused, okay? So there's one of the best things, that's probably the numero 3 thing right there, that top 14 fast-acting supplements that we carry. And those are just the standard process and MediHerb lines of things. We carry 4, 5, 6 other lines of things that act very similarly. So write down your questions. We'll answer them at the end. But right now, we're doing a commercial break. Lauren, come on up. Give us some testimonials. Give her a round of applause.
This patient wrote, my left knee constantly hurt. The medical doctor told me I had a torn meniscus and needed surgery. After being a patient at Divine Design for 2 months, my knee pain is completely pain-free without any surgery.
So was that the bone on bone? One of the 50 million bone on bone deals? Oh, okay. It's always bone on bone. You notice they never say it's ligament on ligament. We're going to have to replace it. Good. All right, let's meme what we say what we meme. Let's meme what we say and say what we meme. If people will do this over a TV, what happens when food runs out? I mean, really. Next. Why do you need more ammo than your gun can hold? For the same reason I don't buy TP at by the square when shit gets messy. You need to be prepared. Canned goods. Ammo cans. Forget the zombie apocalypse, ain't gonna happen. Prepare for the dumbass apocalypse. Here's all the new preppers. Remember when they all thought you were nuts? Hey Joe, boxers or brief? Depends. Here, I'll read this to you. This is Alan Greenberg. He's a medical doctor. As a retired physician, I can honestly say that unless you are in a serious accident, your best chance of living to a ripe old age is to avoid doctors and hospitals and learn nutrition, herbal medicine, other forms of natural medicine, unless you are fortunate enough to have a naturopathic physician available. How will we save you, your family, a whole lot of money and time and resources? I'm that dude. Almost all drugs are toxic. Well, I would say all drugs. Take the word almost out of there. All drugs are toxic and are designed only to treat symptoms and not to cure anyone. But I really like this part where he says, learn your natural medicine unless you're fortunate enough to have a naturopathic dude near you. Are we naturopathic? Absolutely. Are we homeopathic? Absolutely. Are we holistic? Yes. Are you a chiropractor? Absolutely. Guess what? We check all the boxes. Are you biblical? Yes. I thought you'd never ask. That's a fabulous idea. Right? Next. So the most important aspect of life, and particularly in a shizzle hits the fizzle scenario, or an involuntary visit to the Federal Emergency Management Association agency summer camp, 3 things. This is the most important thing out of the whole deal. Know who put you here, know why he put you here, and know where you're going when you are no longer here. That's it. If you can answer those 3 questions, that is the meaning of life right there. But until you get the answers to those questions, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. I don't wish that on you, but the most important thing about the prepping and the food and the proteins and the supplements and the herbs and the oils, the most important thing is to know the author, know the architect, know who put it all together. And if you figure out why you're here, then everything else will make sense. Your marriage will make sense. Your kids will make sense, all of it. And then when you know where you're going, when you're no longer here, you're not afraid of anything. That's what happened in the last 2.5 years. People freaked out because their God was their job, or their God was the government, or their God was a paycheck, right? Next. Food. A few ways you can handle this. Hop in a CSA, community supported agriculture, okay? That is local things. You can go online. I don't recommend Google, but you can Google it. You can go online and you can find community supported agriculture where you're a farmer, great. I come to you, I pay you a certain share, certain amount per quarter or per year or whatever, and then you get me a box of stuff every week. It's fabulous. I've done it for years. It's fabulous. Support local farmers. Why? Well, farmers, they need help. Look at what's going on. Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland. Diesel's going through the roof. And they're mowing down food supply warehouses and everything with direct energy weapons. It's unbelievable. So the farmers, I love our farmers. I love all our homesteaders. I love all of our patients who support us and help us. But understand this, farmers will be targeted first when everything goes down. They're going to be the ones with food. So if you are a farmer and you have a lot of stuff going on, I wouldn't be advertising it. I wouldn't be telling people. Grass-fed beef. Grass-fed beef, easy to find. You're in Tennessee. Easy to find. When cattle started eating genetically modified corn, the food supply took a big dump. Cattle are never supposed to eat corn. Cattle are only supposed to eat grass. So when you have grass-fed beef, it's a shame that we even have to label it grass-fed beef now to differentiate it from the genetically modified corn that we've engineered in laboratories to feed cattle to make them sick. Well, then the cattle need what? Vaccines and antibiotics to stay alive long enough to kill them. So it just drives the whole process, right? Find your grass-fed beef. Find some raw dairy. Yes, 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 I know it's illegal in many states. And yes, I know our little thing fell through a couple weeks ago, but we're already working on it. Don't worry, we'll be back up and running. Misfits Market for raw dairy, I won't say much on camera. Ask me about it later. but in most states it's illegal to even buy it. Your government loves milk does a body good commercials so much that the dairy associations in this nation have gotten so filthy rich off of pasteurizing and cooking God's perfect ancient food that it's now almost illegal to buy raw dairy. Think about that. And you're wondering why your kids are wearing rainbows. Because their brains are dying, right?
Soy boys.
And soy boys. Skinny jean, soy boy, limp-wristed little LGBTQIA, WTF, ETC people telling you how to raise your kids, and that gender dysphoria, we're going to chop off their junk. And that's the government indoctrination centers that people go to and call schools. Isn't it crazy? And I'm not beating anybody up. I went to school for way too long. But I love learning, and for what I'm doing, I had to go to school. Misfits Market's another thing. If you want the link to that, see front desk, Butcher Box, see our link, front desk. You get a little kickback. We get a little kickback. Everybody's happy. It's cool. But websites where you can get stuff sent right to your door, and you can avoid the zombie apocalypse hordes at the supermarkets. It's fabulous. It's fabulous. Note, survival food buckets often have really, really, really questionable ingredients. Like, for instance, here's a couple. I think we have some here. What is this? Patriot Supply or something. I'll read some of this. Rice enriched with ferric orthophosphate. Sounds natural, doesn't it? Niacin, which is vitamin B. Thiamine mononitrate, which is another vitamin B. Folic acid, another vitamin B. Creamer. Palm oil maltodextrin, sodium caseinate, dipotassium phosphate, mono and diglyceride, sodium hexametaphosphate, silicone dioxide. I'm reading this whole entire thing. I don't see one food in that whole thing. And this is, I think this is my Patriot Supply. Is it?
Yeah.
This stuff will kill you. I didn't even know it was that bad. Wow. I just had Nadia throw this in there. This stuff's horrible. So if you have this on your shelves, where do you get, where's my Patriot? Where do you get it? Online? Online. It'll kill you. Stay away from it. See Nadia, my wife, for links. We did a lot of looking for the long-term storable foods that won't kill you immediately, that actually have real food in there. Ask Nadia for it up front. I'm just not going to put it on camera. Growing your own foods, like printing your own money. So, oh, and I think we have a few more of these. Can you zoom in on that and show people just how horrible that? I can't even believe that. Hydrolyzed soy protein. Unbelievable. Okay, next. That's the chili mac. That's the cheesy broccoli soup. Equally detestable. I don't think hospitals would serve that. Next. Creamy stroganoff. Yeah, oh my God, I wouldn't even touch that. I wouldn't feed that to anybody. But you know what? Keep that in your shelf, and if your neighbor who didn't prep comes over asking for food, guess what he gets? Hey, I mean, if they didn't prep, if they didn't do any of the work that you did, yeah. So in the upcoming toilet paper apocalypse, processed foods are always going to go first. And remember the thing that we did. 80% of the room ate liver. Now less than 5% does. So that's why. I mean, all the processed garbage. You're wondering why your kids are obese and why they can't concentrate, because their brains are starving and they're eating nutrient-deficient, fake food-like substances. And you think they have allergies to pollen. They don't have allergies to pollen, I promise you. Proteins. Here's a great idea. All the standard processed proteins that we use, the baddest proteins out there that you will ever find on the market anywhere, and you'll never find these at a store. It's healthcare professional places like this only, like the dude was talking about. Find a naturopathic dude near you that knows what's up. These are the best proteins I've ever seen. We happen to have them here. SP Complete comes in a dairy-free and unflavored, a chocolate, a vanilla. SP Detox comes unflavored or chai. That right there is my favorite. Veggie Complete comes in chocolate and vanilla. That's my second favorite. Whey protein. Which are not genetically modified, antibiotic, vaccinated cattle. All you got to do is just add water and shake it up. You can even add your collagens that we're going to talk about here in a minute to this, along with powdered calcifood or calcifood wafers, which we'll talk about in a minute. And this will save your butt at the end of the world as we know it. Shelf stable and perfect for the Native American word, teotwaki. Just kidding. Next, collagens. What do you use collagens for? Well, anything from wrinkles to varicose veins to hemorrhoids to clots to strokes to anything where your cells, your skin is breaking down and it's blowing up. AAAs, strokes, what else, little bubble, hemorrhoids and wrinkles. Hemorrhoids and a AAA are the exact same thing, just in different places. So we just got rid of your preparation H. Put that on the table, right? We just got rid of that. So what do we do here with collagens? Well, standard process, systemic formulas, many options. There's so many options. So most of them are powdered, some of them are capsuled, some of them are tablets. Put that right in your shake it up, boom, you got a meal right there. It's easy. Next. Now, I do not share this with you. I've never shared this before. I don't know. Make us not regret this, because there are royally organics. This is Standard Process's version of whole food, heavy duty, baddest stuff there is for all of these things. They come in 2-pound, 5-pound, 10-pound bags. I can't believe how cheap they are comparatively to what's in the stores. And I pull this out, everybody's taking pictures. Why? Everybody's still hooked on grains. But the thing is, I will tell you, if you will look at the ingredients, it's one thing. And if you look at the nutrition facts, if you look at carbs, fats, and proteins, you will see that every one of these, 2/3 or more of it is carbohydrates. So I've never shared this with people. I've never told patients that this is available, because what would they do? Take a picture of it and go order all of it. I'm just telling you the truth, right? Everybody pull out a phone. The minute I put this, grains. Everybody's taking a picture of it. Because we try to get people off of the grains and get them to eat things that they've never heard of before. And there's many different types of vegetables, We try to get them off the fruit, because you have people doing shakes, and the first thing they do is, I'll do bananas and blueberries and strawberries and mangoes and pineapples, and I'll put this in there, and it's all strawberries. It's all fruit, because it's sweet, because they're addicted to sugar. And fruit sugar and sugar is sugar. Same thing, right? So what we try to do is get people away from this. But in a grid down, Chinese invasion, shizzle hits the fizzle scenario, you know what? Go ahead. Knock yourself out. I endorse this message. Next. And we have the list up there for what's available, what poundage, how much they are, all that stuff. That's the only thing. The royally organics, not 10% off tonight, because those things, they're not like, they're not that expensive. I'm really shocked by it. Different sizes, prices. See Nadia for all the specifics. What do you do with water? Well, check out the You're Full of It class to understand why. One of the other classes is called You're Full of It. Why? You're 70 or 80% water. So we do classes that all of our new patients coming up in October will be watching classes on the food, the air, the water, the chemicals, the cosmetics, cleaning supplies, vaccines, CBD, all of it, cancer, autoimmune, all the classes we're going to have. This is like the number 2 class we have people watch when they become new patients, because 80% of their body's water. How do you fix your water? Well, you got to have, if you're off grid and there's no electricity, a Berkey or any of the other gravity-fed systems out there, like Alexa Pure is a good one. AquaTrue is what we use here in office. I have 2 of these or 3 of these going at all times in the back. I can't remember, 2 or 3? 2. I've got one at home. These are AC units. They hardly pull any wattage, but in a grid down type of deal, this is a reverse osmosis thing. It's going to suck very few watts, and it's going to filter your water like nothing else. But the gravity-fed units are okay too. They don't run off electricity, but it's going to take a lot longer for you to, and if something happens to your filters, you're hosed, okay? But life straws, you can get a 3-pack of those for like 30 or 40 bucks. You can suck pond water right out of a lake. Sawyer Minis, kind of the same thing, but you can put them on spigots coming out of water bottles and out of buckets. You can look them up online. You can find out what they do. Rainwater collection, I'd recommend, getting more into using the stuff that comes out of your downspouts and just having water, because they're coming for your water. That's the next war. The last war was over oil. The next war will more than likely be over water. And then have a water stash. Have just water bottles tucked away somewhere. Not necessarily cheap, crap from Walmart, but have good water that you can use at any point in time. That's not crackly, the crackly, cheap petroleum plastic. You have thicker bottles or glass bottles, so that they're not sitting in the sun all day cooking. That's a very cursory overview. I could teach I have taught whole classes on water. That's all I'm going to say about water for survival situations. You got to have water. You don't have water for 3 days, you're dead. Okay? And if you don't have clean water and you get some kind of crap going on in your guts, you're going to wish you were dead. Okay? Essential oils. How do you handle animal bites? How do you handle bruises? How do you handle burns? How do you handle colds? How do you handle constipation, fevers, fractures, heat stroke, infections, insect bites? See what I mean? And these are all very easily available. And do not ever, ever, ever take an essential oil from the store that you bought internally. Only use Young Living essential oils. That is the only thing we recommend. We test them with people all the time. We can test you and figure out which out of the 700 oils are going to work for XYZ. We can figure out which one your body wants right now much more effectively. So just keep in mind, do not ever ingest oils from another company other than Young Living. Young Living across the board is safe for consumption. I will say that, but I will also say these right here are just the top ones. These are all, back up. These are the top ones for price point, I will say. Because you'll notice the same ones you see a lot of chamomile, ginger, thyme, peppermint, eucalyptus, lavender. Like if you just have those, you know, you can handle a lot of stuff just by understanding how to use these oils and just by having those on hand. These are very, very, very affordable. Everyone on this list is very affordable. You should have every oil on this list because they're multi-purposeful and very useful for multiple things. There are more expensive things for more specialized things like nerve damage and this and that, but those oils, just like any pain supplements or any pain pills for that matter, anything for pain or anything for nervous system regeneration are going to be a lot pricier. So that's why some of the plants, and they're a lot harder to grow, but all of these plants here are much more easy to come by. But I would only recommend Young Living. And if you have questions about that, ask anybody here. Ask Lauren, ask Angie, ask Brittany, ask Jane. People who are on our team, they can steer you in the right direction if you have any questions about any of that. So that just goes up to insect bites. Next, more essential oil stuff. Insect repellent. Get rid of the DEET. Get rid of the poison. Jet lag. That should just say insomnia. Jet lag is a psychiatric diagnosis that doesn't belong there. Rashes, sleeplessness, sunburn. We'll talk more about sunburn here in a minute. Swelling, toothache, travel sickness, vomiting, wounds. So if you run into a situation, we talked about clove earlier. Clove, before it was an essential oil, it was a dental anesthetic back in the day before they started using drugs. They used clove oil. So if you just have a basic understanding of how to use some of these oils, you can cover a whole lot of ground in a lot of time, in a short amount of time, okay? We have a lot of previous events, talk about how to use the oils. Look on the website, all of my messages about Young Living and essential oils and how Gary Young was like the counterpart. Gary Young did with essential oils 35 years ago for Young Living what Royal Lee did with whole food supplements for Standard Process 100 years ago. It was almost like they were carbon copy brothers. This is just unbelievable to read about these two guys' lives and how they came to an understanding of whole food and how Gary Young resurrected essential oils all by himself like 35 years ago. Next. Herbs. I'll just say a few things about herbs. Herbs have phytochemicals, aka essential oils, things like flavonoids and tannins and resins and bitters and pungents and saponins, coumarins, alkaloids, phytoestrogens, all this stuff. Herbs have those phytochemicals. Phyto meaning plant-based or plant chemicals, okay? Herbs are not essential nutrients to the body. You can eat herbs, you can grow them all day long, but they're not essential nutrients to the body, but they are, I can say this, essential stimulants to the body. They gently stimulate your body. Remember this, whole foods rebuild your organs. Whole foods rebuild your organs. Herbs will gently stimulate, okay? So when people have been here for a long time as a patient, they'll be here for like a year, whatever. We've rebuilt their organs. Now we move them, their body moves them from like more of a whole food-based program, like with their supplements. All of a sudden, their body starts testing more for like homeopathic liquids and botanicals and herbal liquids and all this stuff. And you start going, okay, their body's completely satisfied with where they're at right now, and now we're just gently keeping things in order. You know, it's a souped-up version of where they started. They come in real sick on 20 medications and missing a bunch of organs, and their body, we rebuild a bunch of their organs, and then their body just moves them over to herbs. And just keep them riding that wave, man. It's beautiful. Growing them on your own can be problematic. I don't tell people not to, but you've got to have space, you got to have the right seasons, you got to be in the right place, you got to prepare for, keep it from animals, and you got to prepare it the right way. Is it the root? Is it the stem? Is it the leaf? When do you grow it? When do you pick it? I mean, all of these are very specific, scientifically organized things that big companies like Young Living and MediHerb have figured out. So why don't we trust MediHerb and like Young Living and other companies like this, the leading healthcare professional only herbal company in the world? We all got to trust somebody. You're not an island unto yourself. So remember, we usually do not use protocols. Here comes the trip to the bank everybody wants. Here comes the why everybody showed up. Here's all the protocols that we don't recommend. But remember, we usually do not use protocols. What is a protocol? It's like when you go to a functional medicine guy and he says, oh, you got an adrenal problem, you got a thyroid problem, you got a heart problem. So here's your adrenal package, and here's your thyroid package, and here's your heart package. And it's like, just here's the protocol for rheumatoid arthritis. Here's the protocol for MS. Here's the protocol for Lyme disease. No. Your Lyme disease is not the same as your Lyme disease. That's a lie from medicine, okay? Because your background and your DNA and your stress levels and your diet are not the same as her Lyme disease and her Lyme disease. So there's no such thing as a protocol that works with everybody. Does that make sense? Huh?
Polymorphisms also. Right?
There's all kinds of stuff going on. There's all kinds of stuff. So we usually don't use protocols because that just sets us up for failure, and it sets you up to go, well, that didn't work. But in a situation like this, where the grid's down, Amazon ain't shipping to your door anymore, the drones are dropping bombs, and you got robo-dogs on your back porch coming after you from the IRS 87,000 member strong army of IRS armed militant libtard IRS agents coming after you. In a situation like this, you might want to have a stash of protocols. So here goes. So a supplement for a symptom, though, is the same philosophy as a drug for a disease. Your body does not think that way, what I just said. There are simply some of the many options available for you to consider. This should illustrate our ability to help you in absolutely every instance. Whole foods rebuild, herbs gently stimulate. Using muscle testing, we help to determine the most effective option and dosage for each patient. Yeah, we determine the most effective option, but we can also figure out if you need 60 drops of that liquid or if you need 120 drops of that liquid. Figure out, do you need, okay, that's a very pricey tablet. Do you need 6 of those a day or do you just need 1 of those a day? See, it's laser focused and guided right down to the dosage. So you're saving a lot of time, effort, money, and resources doing what we're doing. You can never be wrong with these symptoms or with these supplements and these protocols. You can only be more right. In other words, you're not going to poison yourself in any way, shape, or form. You could take every one of these things and you'd be perfect. Your kids could take every one of these things and be perfectly okay. He could overdose on them all night, all day, all night the next day, and he'd be perfectly fine. But you can only be more right. In other words, out of these 100 heart supplements, none of them are going to hurt you, but what's that number 1 heart supplement that you need, right? Now that takes time to figure out. Ancient, safe, effective, valuable, empowering. Everything we do here. Everything we do here. So before we get to the protocols that we never suggest, one more commercial break because I got to get something to drink, and Lauren's got to read you some killer testimonials. Come on up.
This patient wrote, before starting at Divine Design, I had bleeding gums every morning. After starting my supplement protocol, and
That's what they call it.
and eating better for a month, I have no gum bleeding. When I went on vacation and slacked off, it began again. Wow, definitely going to start staying on top of my food and supplements.
There you go. That was easy. Yeah, see, they call them programs. We call them programs. A lot of times people call them protocols because that's just what they've been, what they're familiar with. And that's okay. I mean, we just tell people we don't do protocols. But if somebody comes in and they need help with this or that or yada, 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 we make it kind of a patient request. Like, okay, this isn't what your body chose, but we're just going to put this in your program for you to take for a while. Let's mean what we say what we mean. If you want to take my freedom, make damn sure that you're as passionate about taking it as I am about keeping it. If you don't make time for your wellness, I assure you, you will be forced to make time for your illness. Read that again. That right there, hold on. That right there is people in your family. People in your family that are, well, I got to take my blood pressure meds. It usually starts with all their reasoning and all of their excuses. Always, usually, I've noticed, start with the words, well, well, no, you're not well. Well, but the doctor said, stop right there. The doctor said that 35 years ago, and you're still living under the word curse that he spoke over you of demonic witchcraft. That's what you're doing. You're living in fear of nonsense that's never going to happen to you, and you're poisoning yourself so that somebody else gets the profit while you're dying slowly. That's what's happening to your friends and your families and your kids. That's why we preach like the world's ending, because, well, guess what? It is. Next. COVIDism, the fastest growing religion in the world. Where they wear masks and the hospitals were so packed, all the nurses did TikTok dances for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. People still believe this crap. I see people driving in their cars, suffocating themselves with diapers on their mouths. I still see it almost 3 years later. And we knew it was a hoax from the day it dropped. We knew it was fake. Next. It was just like polio, which they're bringing back.
Oh, yeah.
I told you people 3 years ago, I said, this is polio. They're bringing it back. That's what's happening. Buck Sexton says, I don't know who this dude is. I just thought this was funny. What's a recession? They don't know. What's a woman? They don't know. But they're absolutely sure that lethal injection shot number 5 will do the trick. Unbelievable. Yeah, they can't even tell you what a woman is. Yeah, this guy knows. Take a picture of that. That's good stuff, right?
New one on the Supreme Court, huh?
Yeah. Candace Owen says, experts told you if you complied with lockdown, censorship, massive vaccinations, life would return to normal. Conspiracy theorists told you COVID was never going to end. Governments would use it to usher in a totalitarian new world order. Who do you believe now? Thank you very much. Next. So, oh no, we skipped one. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go. I want you to look at that. Understand all these companies. When I call out Johnson & Johnson, it's not just about the shampoos and the lotions. Johnson & Johnson owns all these brands. None of them can be trusted. Clean and Clear, all your Zik creams. Neutrogena, guess what? Owned by J&J. Benadryl, guess what? Well, I just took a little Benadryl. Okay, you took stuff from the same company that killed millions of people with the clot shot lethal injections, right? KY Jelly, how many of you in here use that? Just kidding. Stay Free, what is that? Is that feminine napkins? Something like that? Lubriderm, all the crap. What is this? I can't read this. Purell. Now, where did I see Purell a lot in the last 3 years? Aveeno. Oh, but it's got green on the bottle. It looks natural. Yeah, I know. Bengay, Sudafed, Zyrtec, Benecol, Rolaids, Mylanta, Motrin, Pepcid, Imodium, Visine. I've mentioned half of these tonight. Look at that. Splenda. What's Splenda? It's an artificial sweetener. So why is this created by a pharmaceutical company if it's an artificial sweetener? Ah, now you're thinking, right? Tylenol, Carefree, Neosporin, Caladryl, Monostat, all the Listerines, the Band-Aids, shower to shower, Rembrandt, AccuView. What am I missing here? All those brands. Guess what? We just cleaned out your fake medicine Rockefeller petroleum cabinet. Just that one slide right there. I saved it for the end. You're welcome. Next. Here's your immune system. Here's all of the protocols that we just never recommend. But here's what you need to know. Conjuplex, Imiplex, Epimune, Cataplex ACP, and Thymex. If you're just going for the whole food stuff, if you're really, 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 really sick, do the whole food stuff. If you've been here for a while and you want some extra insurance, get the herbal stuff. If you want to be hardcore, get the liquid herbal stuff right here, right? And then colloidal silver, that's not the store. We don't sell anything here that's bought in a store. Everything we sell here is doctor only. So the stuff we sell here for colloidal silver, it's ingestible, it's in your ears, in your eyes, in your nose, in your mouth, cuts, scrapes, burns, kids, dogs, cats, whole 9 yards. So make sure you stock up on that before the Chinese invade, okay? But the standard process stuff, Conjuplex, Imiplex, Epimune. Epimune is mushrooms, like 4 or 5 different types of mushrooms. Cataplex ACP, that's standard process's answer to Theraflu and Tamiflu, okay? If I can say that. And then Thymex, what organ is that going to rebuild? It's an organ you don't know you have. Thymus. Most people don't even know they have one. But if your grandparents and great-grandparents ate sweetbread, that was bovine thymus. They just called it sweetbread. It had nothing to do with bread. A few restaurants, you'll see sweetbread on the menu still, just a few. I've only seen it at 2. But Mediherb, Andrographis, Echinacea premium, Cat's Claw forte. Mediherb, I will tell you this, price-wise, it is the baddest thing out there per gram or milligram dosage. You will not see, their labels are different than the labels you will see on shelves elsewhere. They are taking it from a full, like usually milligrams or thousands of grams dosage in a 5-to-1 or 70-to-1 extract. That is the dosage of what you're getting for that plant is far away above and beyond anything you would buy in a store. For the price of what they are, yes, they're expensive, but they should be 10 times more than what they are. They really should. They really should. For what Mediherb gives you, bang for buck, what they give you is beyond anything out there. Bronch Effect, that comes in a tablet or a liquid. Digest, same thing. Resco, same thing. But the liquid herbals, I recommend those. I shoot about 20 or 30 of those every morning, along with the gasoline that I drink and the matchbooks that I chew on. Next. Okay? And the black cumin seed is forte. That is your most important airborne allergy. I shouldn't say allergy. I hate allergies. Airborne pathogen herb, the black cumin seed. If you're looking to prevent and protect yourself from some stuff, here's the baddest herbal stuff you can do. Turmeric forte, which we talked about when Dave was here about a month ago, August 2nd. And the Eleuthero. What's the other name for Eleuthero? Anybody know? There you go. Absolutely. Very good. Next. Simplified short-term support. You got a tickle? Take that. Dosages? However much you need. It's a grid down scenario. You don't have me, Just take what you need. Ask your body. Figure it out. Conjuplex, take 6 of those. Andrographis, take 3. I don't like giving people dosages. Simplified short-term support. There's that. Here's your simplified soothing support. Oh, and know about the Andrographis. I forgot to mention this. Thailand, the government of Thailand is promoting Andrographis for the COVID's treatment. Just know that. But that simplified short-term support, use that like when you just have the tickle. And the immune system stuff that we covered a minute ago, that's like any infections, abscesses, if you have a breakdown in your immune system, you're screwed. Well, take that stuff, you won't be. So that's your simplified soothing stuff, right? Bronch Effect, phytosynergist, that stuff is hardcore. Excuse me. And what is that? That's like a liquid combination phytosynergist product of like 6 or 7 other single products, single herbal extracts. Okay? Herbal throat spray, the only thing on this whole list that works instantaneously, unless you put a drop of oregano in your eyeball. That'll work instantaneously too, but I don't recommend it. But this is much more pleasant. Sinus Forte, simplified soothing support for like respiratory stuff. I don't know what's going on in the world in the last few years, or if there's any type of respiratory stuff going on. But if you just wanted to support yourself soothingly, that's what I would be doing right there, among other things. That's where I'd start. Trying to keep this all in the ballpark for people monetarily. Simplified recovery. In other words, if you've been sick for a long time, chronically, and you are now trying to recover, astragalus, Cat's Claw Forte, and ashwagandha. Yes, Withania somnifera, ashwagandha. Cool. Simplified recovery support. If you were here a few weeks ago when Dave was talking about ashwagandha, it's the #1 adaptogenic herb for adapting to stressful times. And the reason why Dave was here preaching was because he was passing through, and I said, hey, I'll let you walk around my office if you come and you do a 2-hour class for us. And he agreed, and so he came here and taught on a Tuesday. That's the Docs Gone Wild class, and that should be online by now. Y'all should check that out, because he went through and fired some absolute some awesome things he was talking about. Simplified recovery, that's how you recover. And he talked about ashwagandha quite a bit. All 3 of those have liquid or tablet options, okay? Some people need tablets, some people need liquids. Oh, everybody had their cameras up, and then, Jonathan must have changed. Injuries. What about burns? What about lesions? What about ulcers and wounds? You get, your neighbor comes after you with a chainsaw. Well, standard process, that's what you do. Chlorophyll ointment. That will stain your clothes, and you use gauze bandages. And if you know how to use, battlefield dressings or tourniquets if you need to, I don't recommend tourniquets. But if you got a broken femur, yes, I'd say use a tourniquet or a femur kit. Mediherb liquids. Echinacea premium, calendula, chamomile, applied topically in a cream base. You can do that in V6 essential oil blend, or you can do just a regular, do it in tallow, do it in USF ointment. We'll talk about USF ointment here in a minute. Mediherb tablets, Goticola complex, that is the best herbal thing for regrowing skin. Dermico also has Goticola in it. Rebuild your skin with dermatrophin. That is a dermatrophin protomorphogen extract from standard process. These are options for you. And then topicals, you can use USF, you can use sesame seed oil, wheat germ oil, linum B6, apply all those topically, and that can be your base for your Mediherb liquids. So if you have a certain, it depends on everybody's budget, I know, but if you have a certain thing that you want to try to do, ask us. Ask us and we'll say, this is what I would do for that, gold, silver, bronze price tag. I'd say just get this, just have this on hand. Next. If you have broken bones, well, how do you regrow broken bones? Pulse electromagnetic field therapy, right? That's how you fix broken bones. Down at the end of the hallway. If you've never seen one, check it out. We have them here. We have 4 of them here, actually. So broken bone, standard process. How do you fix the broken bone? How do you fix a tooth that's knocked out? Stuff like that. Ostrophin PMG, Leucoplex 1 and 2, Calcifood. Calcifood comes in wafers, which will be the best treat your dog ever got. Right, Brittany? Or Calcifood comes in powder, which you can add already to what? The protein and the collagen, super heavy duty, butt kicking, superfood smoothie, vegetable shake protein thing that you did that morning that you can put in a cup and shake, or just turn on your blender hooked into your solar power generator. Right? No? Okay. And run that for 10 seconds, and that's all you need. Throw it on your Vitamix for 10 seconds, and it's all done. Mediherb, bone complex, turmeric forte, boom. And hit it with pulse electromagnetic field therapy, brother, and watch it heal. Next. Insect bites, what do you do? Antronex, because remember the drainage. You got an insect bite, you don't want to cover it, you want to drain it. Squeeze that thing, poke it, cut it open, suck out the blood. Just kidding. Antronex. That's a drainage thing. It makes your liver filter your blood faster. And then Echinacea premium and nettle leaf. You want to have those on hand. Trust me. Next. And you can also, if you use your oils right, then you've also got the bugs staying away from you because you've already got your insect repellent, right? Digestive issues. Standard process. There's your options. Zypan, Multizyme, Enzacor, Gastrex, Ochrapepsin E3. And Mediherb. Digest Forte and Hypep. Those are the most bang for your, what I did was I put together most bang for your buck. If you were in a shizzle hits the fizzle scenario, how would you do this? Stopping bleeding. Yeah, there's a way to stop bleeding. If you want to know how to stop bleeding right away, we can talk about it, but we'll mention it after the camera shuts off. The respiratory issues. For this one, you might want to check out the You Don't Have Allergies class. You might not have respiratory issues if you do everything we tell you to do in that class. But if you do have some kind of lung damage or something, and you get caught in the middle of the apocalypse with your asthma down, pneumotrophin PMG and Pulmico. Okay? And if you just got allergies and you need some relief, your sinuses are all caked up, Allerplex with Pulmico. Cool? But, big point here, get your kids off the inhalers. Next, sunburn. Nobody's ever told you this. Sunburn is a nutritional deficiency. How do I know? Because the plants are in the sun at least 12 hours a day, and the plants never get cancer. But humans go out in the sun, and they're full of not chlorophyll, like the plants are, but they're full of sugar. So if you put sugar in the sun, what's going to happen to the sugar? Is it going to burn? Is it going to turn red? Is it going to cause problems? Absolutely. Most people are not full of chlorophyll, they're full of sugar. So they go out in the sun. People have lived in the sun for 6,000 years, right? So the sun is your friend. You've been told it gives you skin cancer. You've been lied to. It's all crap. So they give you sunblock, which causes cancer. And all the dermatologists are dancing in the streets because they tricked you. So here, sunburns, if you understand you eat the right food, you won't get a sunburn. And if you do get any type of exposure, it'll be a little bit tan and it won't burn and your skin won't fall off and you won't be miserable. But how do you treat it anyway? Boom and boom. How do you prevent it? Boom and boom. Because sunburn is all nutritional deficiency, sugar versus protocol. It's all about how much calcium is in your blood. That's it. And then any number of other topical liquids, essential oils, homeopathic creams, as tested for each case. I mean, the options are endless. We could go on and on and on, but these give you some basic rules to follow. Pain. Once again, pain is not the problem. Pain is your check engine light going on. And when people take a painkiller, it's just putting a piece of electrical tape over the light and just saying, hey, body, I don't care that you're in pain. I got to kill the pain. Listen to the pain. This is the quick, easy ways. Do not chew these and do not drop those on your floor. They will stain, and I'm not paying for your carpet. I'm not. Chlorophyll pearls, cod liver oil, inositol, hemp oil, and or hemp oil complex. The difference is hemp oil, just straight hemp oil. Hemp oil complex has essential fatty acids in it in the form of calamari oil. Okay? Then if you got a tooth problem, teeth stuff is very different. Pulse, boom, boom, boom. But teeth stuff, if it's a nerve system pain, and it's killing you because it's next to your brain, take those. They're expensive because pain supplements are expensive. Just know that. Every one of those right there, well, this one, those two are not expensive. Everything else right there, pricey. Everything else right here, fairly pricey. But MediHerb, boom, there's your things right there. Quick, fast-acting pain response. Heart problems. Check out my heart class. I think we talk about it here in a minute. Cataplex, E2, stops heart pain in minutes. Guess what? Dr. Royal Lee. The E2 factor is the first vitamin destroyed in the commercial milling of flour. Want to know why everybody has chest pain? Heart problems, cardiovascular disease. Heart disease, #1 killer in the United States. It's because of nutrition. If you watch my We Heart You 2 class, it'll explain all of the heart problem, the arrhythmias, the palpitations, angina pectoris, all the nonsense that you have been carting your mom and dad around to get pacemakers and valves and stents for decades, and they just keep getting worse and worse. Guess what? It's all nutritional. Cardio Plus would revolutionize every medical heart center in the United States. But they won't allow it. They just won't allow it. Cataplex B, See We Heart You 2, that's the class we did a while back for the solution to every single heart problem. Every single heart problem. Like, we could change the world. If you give me enough space to stand on, I would knock down every hospital in this nation. in a long enough time, we would cripple the heart centers. You know why? Because the heart centers are crippling you. That's what's happening. Note, every nerve motor conductivity problem measured by an EKG, an electromyography, or a nerve conduction velocity test are simply a lack of B vitamins and dietary fat. Tell that to your mom and your aunt that just went and got their EMG NCV for their carpal tunnel. Tell that to your buddies with their neuropathy, where the doctors go stick a needle and run a bunch of electricity, and they go, yeah, the nerve's not firing properly. Well, no kidding. Is that why my legs are numb? Yeah. The nerves aren't firing properly. So what are we going to do? Well, we'll give you a gabapentin, Neurontin. We'll give you something that'll kill you. But really, your nerves aren't acting right because of this, right here, and this. That's the currency of the body, B vitamins and fat. That is the energy currency of the body. Next. There's your heart problems in a nutshell. Watch that class. It's called We Heart You 2. If you have people in your life who have heart problems. Sleep. Cataplex B Core, Easy Mag, Ashwagandha, Minchex, Cataplex G, Cava Forte, Orchex, Valerian Complex, California Poppy. Lots of options here. Why? Because here's the deal. If you don't sleep, you don't heal. If you don't sleep, you're dead because your body will not heal. Very important. There's your options. Cool? Cataplex B Core, if you're waking in the middle of the night, this is the strongest gamma amino, GABA, G-A-B-A. It's a neurotransmitter. Strongest GABA herb. This right here, it's going to cause you to dream like you've never dreamt before. So just be forewarned. Nervogesic, yeah. And this is like this. When you take this, Valerian, yeah, you'll see me in your sleep. I'll be going. You didn't take enough of the valerian. California poppy, that's the liquid version of Nervagesic, kind of. Very different, but they have the same effect. Here's one for you. If you do screw yourself up, pre-surgery, right? Think about this. Use this in a situation where where you need help and help's not coming. But also think of this, like, why have you never heard of this? Pre-surgery. That's a quote for me right there. You know what? Whatever healing time frame your medical doctors gave you, we're going to cut it in 1/3. Cut it to 1/3. 3 months, you give me 1 month. Why? Because we're doing stuff here they've never heard of. They don't know exists. So when people, they go in for, say, okay, even some of my patients have to go in, they get a hernia repair, something that's not going to get fixed on its own, or they go in and they have something, I can't even think. Oh, okay, they go in, they get their breast implants removed. I tell them, ask the doctors how long it takes most people, and then we're going to cut it to 1/3. How do I know? Because we're already giving them, we're already boosting them, we're already replacing their skin and their muscles and their fat and everything, so that when they go in and go under the anesthesia and the painkillers and the muscle relaxers and all that stuff, we're already planning pre-surgically to help their body detox from all the poison that they're surely going to have to take once they enter into that medical system. And then they're going to be, so pre-surgery, prehabilitation, you've never heard of it. You've only heard the term rehabilitation after an injury. You've never heard of prehab, reference before an injury in order to prepare for surgery. Has anyone in this room heard of the word prehabilitation? You know who I got this from? Well, here. This is because Medicare, the greedy grandfather of every insurance company, does not recognize or reimburse for prehabilitation. They only do rehabilitation. You know who told me that? The Indian surgeon who was raised Ayurvedically, who was here in the United States, cutting my dad open. That's who told me that. He said, I would love to do prehabilitation, but they will not allow me because Medicare will not pay for it. I said, how do you know all this? I was raised in India where the government and the schools were not run by pharmaceuticals. Oh, that's wonderful. That's what he told me. That's a quote. That's a direct quote. Isn't that sick? And you think you're not in a death cult. Oh my God, the Indians know you're in a death cult, for crying out loud. Cataplex AC. Vitamin A keeps mucous membranes healthy, and vitamin C prevents infection and bolsters collagen. Everybody thinks vitamin C is for your immune system. Not necessarily. It's for collagen. That's why it's called vitamin C, collagen. Remember we talked about bundles of grapes hanging out of your butt and varicose veins? How it's the same thing? It's because your collagen is breaking down. The collagen is breaking down in your arteries and your veins. And that's what varicose veins are, right? And that's what a AAA is, and that's what a stroke in your brain is. Cataplex ACP, see above, and combine it with P or the root factors to support blood and skin and connective tissue and general resistance to infection. So which one do you want for, remember, Cataplex ACP? Doesn't that sound like general resistance to infection? Bye-bye Tamiflu, bye-bye Theraflu, right? And then scars, you can use wheat germ oil on exterior and Gotu-Kola on the interior, right? So we set people up for pre-surgical. They're going in to get their breast implants removed once they realize what they did and what, like now I've got 2 invaders that my body's constantly fighting off, and it's going to cost more to get them taken out than it costs to get them put in. Yeah, we've had probably half a dozen. No, we've had about 8 or 10. I think we're in double digits now of patients getting their breast implants removed. And I don't know how many patients getting amalgam fillings removed. That's never the first option, never the first thing we tell them to do. We just wait for them to figure it out. And then we support them on the way there and before, during, and after. EMF and radiation protection. You ought to check out our class on 5G, the 5G pentagram. If you want to know what's up with 5G, Wi-Fi, and what's happening with those big, crazy-looking towers that they're putting everywhere since they had your schools and your universities closed, and they put these things up overnight, thousands, millions of them all over the world, 5G. And you need to know what's going on with that. Well, that's EMF and radiation protection. Buckwheat. That is in Ceruta Plus, and Easy Mag. Some of you in this room are on some of those. Along with turmeric forte is the most important combination. Buckwheat protects the blood-brain barrier. Also, you want to be taking some ginkgo. There's a bunch of different ginkgo options. But ginkgo forte is usually my favorite. But ginkgo sources for added brain health, these all have ginkgo in them. The ginkgo tree, ginkgo, after World War II, they noticed the ginkgo trees were still standing after the bombs were dropped. So that's when a lot of the research into ginkgo biloba started. They said, what is up with this tree? That's where everybody started figuring out ginkgo. And you can also diffuse rosemary, young living essential oil in your environment. And strangely enough, young living, or not young living, but rosemary oil is also in a product called Bacopa Complex made by MediHerb. So MediHerb and Young Living knew some of the same stuff. So you could add this here, Herbovital, Ginkgo Forte, Gotocola Complex. Remember, this is Herbovital, that's like got 5 or 6 different things in it herbally. Ginkgo Forte, that's for mental clarity. Remember the fast acting things, the top 15 or whatever we had at the very beginning. So if you want mental clarity and EMF protection, boom. If you want skin and musculoskeletal health repair at the same time as radiation protection, boom. So it just really depends. And if, patients who are already existing patients, I can test you and figure out which would be best. Or you can just get them all and have a plethora of an apothecary, right? Here's a protocol for surviving all the lethal injections. It's very important because so many people are getting tricked into rolling up their sleeve and consenting to a biological weapon. So the lethal injections, and this goes for kids that have been damaged by the lethal injections or for people who are currently, taking the lethal injections. We had one patient, one out of hundreds, that actually got the shot because we taught every week for when all of this crap was going down. We taught every week, saw what was coming. We said, we need to tell everybody what's up. So we only had one patient, and that's because she never watched any of the classes. She lived on the other side of Chattanooga, and she didn't watch, she had a lot of older friends that kind of convinced her because of CNN to get the lethal injection. So out of hundreds of patients, she was the only one. She was the only one. Now we have a a funnel. It's a funnel. So we're only going to accept so many certain numbers of people who got the lethal injection. So when you walk in here, you know that you're walking into a safe place and you're not going to be, laying down on a table with somebody that has nanobots crawling out of their blood. You know what I mean? So we have a very focused funnel. They have to fulfill a protocol of things, or I should say a list of requirements before we'll even let them in this office. So we have a very focused, narrow funnel for people who did get the lethal injections. I don't think we have anybody here who had multiple lethal injections. Maybe 2 people I can think of that got Moderna Part 1, Moderna Part 2. They didn't know what was going on, and they figured it out real fast. But if you want to survive them, there you go. Vitamin D, Imiplex, parotid. Parotid, that's your gland right here. It's a tagging gland that will tag all your food, air, and water that enters your body as either friend or foe. Your parotid gland is kind of a big deal. Echinacea premium, Ginkgo forte, and black cumin seed forte. That's the baddest black cumin seed out there, anywhere, and it is the cure for everything but death, as they used to say in Ayurvedic medicine. This prevents inflammation from toxicity. Every vaccine is designed to cause inflammation. Did you know that? The Children of Shotzilla, we talk about it in Children of Shotzilla, the class that we did with vaccine, kids vaccine schedule and how it's changed over the years. Every vaccine is designed, and what they're getting today are not vaccines. Every vaccine is designed to cause inflammation. So what that turmeric does is it protects DNA from gene modification, and curcumin is the essential phytonutrient to minimize damage from lethal injections. Then the only other thing, Imuplex, that contains bone, zinc, thymus PMG, Ginkgo forte, I told you about the trees, and the black cumin seed forte. Remember, that's the most important airborne pathogen herb. A couple things I'll mention too at the very end. We're almost done. The money and crypto thing. People need to figure out the crypto thing real fast because they're coming to take your money. 87,000 more IRS agents are coming with guns to put you on the ground for trying to write off something that, $5. So here, they're taking your money, your tax money, to hire more people to go after you to pay more taxes. You better figure this out, and you better figure this out real fast. You better get your money out of the bank, and you better do it before they close the banks. We'll come back to this inflation versus deflation thing here in a minute, but I just want to talk about this. Your bank will shut down. They will take your money if you use Federal Reserve notes. Those little fake things in your pocket that you call dollars that are actually Federal Reserve notes, they're not money. They're Federal Reserve notes, and they're not yours. Your pension will be gone. Your 401k will be gone. All of it will be wiped if you do not figure how to use this. I'm telling you now, if you do not figure how to use this, how to use crypto to get around this system, you'll be a victim. You can control your finances, but it takes time to learn this skill. Well, I'm buying gold. Great. Try transporting that somewhere. Well, I'm buying silver. Great. What if your house burns down? Try moving all this stuff around, this heavy, heavy, heavy stuff. Well, I'm just buying a bunch of real estate. Well, it's good, but they could make laws. Remember when, they shut everything down and they told landlords, you can't collect rent. We're going to let everybody freeload off of you. Or they could just, pump a gravel pit right next to your house and drive the value down, or they could tax the crap out of you, or they could just come and take it. Why this and not this? That's the only thing they cannot take. That's it. And they know it, which is why everything you read in the media is Bitcoin bad, Bitcoin bad. Watch out for crypto. It's a scam. Bitcoin bad. You know what the banks are doing while they're telling you that on TV? They're buying it. They're buying all of it. And the financial guys are crapping their pants because they see the writing on the wall and they go, damn, why are we still building banks? These crypto people have figured out how to get around the Federal Reserve and all the crap, all the stupidity of this right here. And what's happening right now? They're inflating your dollar to just steal your purchasing power from you, and then they're going to pull the plug, and guess what? You ain't going to be able to go to the bank, and the ATMs are going to be shut down, and your credit card's going to be shut off because you went to the wrong political rally. You tracking me? But if you have this, they can't do any of that. This right here is probably the most valuable thing out of the entire thing tonight if you value having the ability to transact with other humans and not have to trade a pig for a chicken or vice versa. You track me? Because now Bitcoin is numero uno, it always will be. But there's privacy coins too that allow you to transact completely privately. I want to teach a whole class on this. I just don't know if there's enough interest in it because people are so freaked out about the economy. They're so hanging on to their dollars that they can't even see that the dollars are worthless. So right here, that's the only way out. What do I mean by that? Let's look at inflation versus deflation. First of all, how many of you in this room have ever heard the term deflation? Exactly. You've only ever heard the term inflation. Look at this. Forget that this is here and forget that this is here. I just want to use this. Over time, should things get more expensive to produce or less expensive to produce? Less expensive to produce. So why are the shoes you're wearing right now still $100 when 20 years ago they were making them out of leather and they were $100? You follow me? They get cheaper to produce. We got better machines. We can do it faster and we can ship it from China faster. So it should be easier, cheaper, right? But why does it always get more expensive? Because they're standing at the Federal Reserve, which is not a government thing. It's a private for-profit thing. And they're running the money printer and they're making the value of your dollar go through the toilet because they're just printing more money. Bitcoin is the only thing that you can't print more of. And that's what makes it valuable, scarce, and fungible. So in inflation, just like you're doing here in modern medicine, guess what? Now let's pretend that this is here, modern medicine. Over time, money over time, it's always going to get more expensive, is it not? This is an inflationary economic model right here, where everything gets more and more expensive over time. That's the only world you've ever lived in. But what about a deflationary model, where you can't print more money? There's a fixed supply that can be made, and that's it. That's a deflationary model, where everything gets money over time. Here, deflation, everything gets less expensive over time. You have to wrap your mind around this, but it's hard because when you first hear it, you're like, I've never heard of deflation. How does stuff get cheaper over time? I thought it just always goes up. That's what you've been taught. But over time, if you think about things should get easier and cheaper and better and more efficiently produced, the price of a computer or a phone should go down over time. Should it not? So I encourage you, check this out. If there's interest in a crypto class later on, maybe I'll do one. But I'm telling you right now, learn this technology because it's the only way out. Even if you just put all of your storable value into something that only you control, you don't even have to buy Bitcoin with it. Just keep it in dollars if you want to, but get it out of the banks. They're coming to take your money. They hired 87,000 people, bigger than the Russian army, I guess, to come and take your money at gunpoint. So I'm just trying to warn you. That's all. I've been saying it for 3 years. Next. Oh, but hold on. But over time, go back to this one right here. Over time, though, it gets more and more simple. Over time, it gets easier, less money, because I don't need to see you as often, and you don't need to detoxify yourself as often because now you're not eating crap. See how easy and simple and logical and biblical and physiologically sound what we're doing here is? Every person you know in your life needs this, but 90% of them will talk themselves out of it. because they've never heard of it, because it's too mind-blowing. They can't wrap their mind around it. So they'll talk themselves out of getting healthy and be a statistic. That's what they did with the COVIDs. But this right here, that's inflation. That's a deflation. Over time, it was, a year ago, I realized what this was, what we were doing. I'm like, we're doing a deflationary economic model in the healthcare practice of natural health. This is revolutionary. I didn't even know I was doing it. But over time, it gets cheaper and easier because you don't need to do as much. And if there's a finite supply of monetary energy out there, the price will never go up. The price will always go down. You just live in a place, in a time, in a country where we're printing money out of stock, on paper, worthless paper. They say money's not printed on trees, or money doesn't grow on trees. It's printed on paper. Yeah, it does grow on trees. Next. And remember this, too. Guns and ammo and weapons. Oh, my. Bad for you. Remember 3 months ago, trying to take everybody's guns? Guns, so bad. Guns are so bad. School shooting, Uvalde, Texas. Here we are, 87,000 new IRS agents armed. Guns are great for you. God, it's unbelievable. Never forget, the people who founded this country were cannabis-growing, whiskey-drinking, tax-evading domestic terrorists who shot at cops and tarred, feathered lawmakers who got out of line. Let's do it again. Let's build the gallows, though. Forget the tar and feathers. Forget the tar and feathers. Let's save some money and just build the gallows. How's that sound? Okay. That's it. I think that'll get us evicted off of certain video platforms. You're very welcome. We're going to shut this thing down. God, it was 2 hours and 15 minutes. Wow. That's a lot of info. Did you all get your money's worth tonight? Fabulous. And don't forget, in 2 weeks, we're doing the September 12th is the eugenics agendas, knee-deep in the apocalypse. So if you want to come and get a really uplifting rainbows and unicorns message on September 12th about the future of the world, feel free to come to that one. It's going to be great. We're dancing. We're tap dancing through the apocalypse because we're knee-deep in it. So just FYI. I will answer 2 quick questions before we shut everything off. One, right here.
What if the internet and everything goes down, if there's EMP, and what would happen to crypto if you did that?
Say it into that. Sorry.
What if all the internet went down, like an EMP strike or something? What would happen with the crypto then?
If that goes down, that's a good question. And if that goes down, then you got bigger problems than crypto. You got problems of trying to survive. But the problem with that question too, or I'm going to say problem with the question, the bad guys have to have the internet to control you with the television and the 5G towers. So the electricity.
And the IRS agents.
Yeah, and the IRS, they can't cut off their nose to spite their face. But everything would eventually get back up and running because it would have to in order to monitor and track and trace everyone with 5G technology. So worrying about that.
The nanobots they can't track.
Nanobots,
the
yeah.
people in the nanos.
Yep, absolutely. So I wouldn't worry too much about the grid just completely getting wasted. An EMP, I don't know, like a metal trash can will keep your stuff from melting. That's the cheapest Faraday cage you'll ever find. However, I wouldn't worry too much about the stuff shutting down. If stuff shuts down and your stuff's in the bank, guess what? You're screwed. If stuff shuts down and I have it in my own personal possession in cyberspace somewhere where no one else knows it exists, it's in a lot better place than it is in a bank at Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase. You following me? Because then they just open it all back up and they go universal basic income. Here's your central bank digital currency. You just got to show up to your pharmacy, get an implant, and boom, you're ready to go. And you get all your money right back. And you save a bunch of money on taxes. And we'll give you some discounts on this and this and this. You just got to get the chip. That's how it's going to go down. So if they have control over your money, they have control over you. Just know that. Know that. Does that make sense? But I'd rather have the grid go down on my stash rather than the grid go down on the bank and have where they have my stash. Does that make sense? One more question. I have time for one more. Anybody? Eric, microphone, just so we can get you on the recording for posterity.
All right. You mentioned something earlier about how you know a lot of nurses that have seen uptick.
How I know a lot of what?
Nurses.
Nurses, yes.
And EMT that have seen an uptick in myocarditis and strokes from the vaccine. I was wondering if you could expand on that a little bit.
On camera, no. Off camera, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll shut the cameras down here in a minute. If you just read or watch anything from morticians, nurses, EMTs, paramedics, there's a general kind of like, here's what's going on vibe that people are getting. I don't know if you noticed, I hear a lot more sirens nowadays than I ever have. So I can't say anybody's names or where they work or anything like that, but they all know what's going on. The nurses, every nurse that walks in here knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They know.
There's a direct correlation to what's going on versus
100%.
the vaccines.
Direct correlation versus what's going on in relation to the lethal injections. 100%. 100%. Everybody knows what's going on. The hospitals that were desolate 2.5 years ago with all the nurses having enough time to shake their butts on Instagram and TikTok are now busy handling people with diseases that they're baffled by, you know. And everywhere you look, people are dying suddenly, and 23-year-old athletes and 30-year-old mountain bikers and soccer stars are falling face down. I wonder what happened in the last 2 years that, you know, made these people all sick. Well, they're going to tell you it's climate change. So that they can tax the crap out of you, spray crap on you all day long, and then blame you for the problem that they're creating. And then call people like me who think critically and observe, you know, meticulously. They're going to tell you I'm nuts and cancel my channel.
Conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy theorists. I'm a conspiracy realist, by the way, just to set the record straight. I've never found one that wasn't real.
And they're going to make it a mental illness.
And they're going to, well, yeah, they can try that. And watch my mental illness class, watch the Land of the Free, Home of the Crazed, and watch the You Don't Have a Chemical Imbalance to understand where the demon-worshipping, blood-drinking, baby-killing psychiatrists got in the mix to take over your government, to take over your school, and to take over your military. That is the field of psychiatry. That's medicine. And they're all medical doctors who are psychiatrists who are diagnosing your kids with ADD and ADHD. And stuff like made-up crap like jet lag disorder and shopping disorder and OCD and ADD and ADHD and math disorders and all this stuff, you know, insomnia is a psychiatric disorder. Erectile dysfunction is a psychiatric disorder. It used to be pedophilia and gender dysphoria were psychiatric disorders, but not anymore. Tell you something, right? So yeah, there is a direct, 100% direct correlation to what's going on now and what happened in the beginning of 2021 with the release of certain bioweapons. Yes, absolutely. Okay, one more question. We need a microphone for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Real quick, yes.
Yes, sir. I don't really understand a whole lot about cryptos. So how would you put your 401k into that and still be able to draw off of it?
There are certain services out there that you can cross your 401k over into a crypto-funded 401k. There are those out there, or an IRA. You can cross it over to an IRA or whatever. But then the danger with some of those is you don't control ownership of your crypto. It's like with somebody's pension or with somebody's HSA, health savings account, or FSA or whatever. It's your money until it's not. Does that make sense? If it's like a health savings account or an FSA or an HSA, well, that's my money. Yeah, but we could tell you how to spend it. See? So it's the same thing with a 401k or an IRA. They can take it. It can just evaporate. It's like a pension. Pension used to be pensions. Now it's called 401ks. With crypto, can you cross that over? You can. You can. Or you could just go and take your US dollars and chunk it right into crypto and save it in your own physical storage device, and you have the access to it and no one else does. Can you draw off of it? Yeah, there are ways to do it. There are ways. It's complicated, but they control your crypto, and the whole point of crypto is for you to control your money. So it's kind of a 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other kind of answer to that question. There are ways to do it, but that's not the point of crypto. The point of crypto is to control your own money, because if they have ownership of it, they control it. And if it's a 401k, you don't control it anymore. Does that make sense? It's not your money anymore.
Through a financial advisor, but I still get monies off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but try to get it ahead of time. Try to go get your money right now.
They won't give it to you.
It's not your money anymore. right? They won't give it. And if you do manage to wrestle some of it back, you're going to be hit with what? Massive fees. So it's not your money anymore. You've effectively given your earning power over to them, and we all know that they'll take a cut of it and then give you what's left, right? Well, in order to kind of convince people into doing 401ks, back when pensions went bust, they had to offer these incentives for people to keep their money with essentially what's basically a bank. And in order to do that, with the interest coming back to them, people will go, yeah, okay, take my money. But now if something goes south, or if they don't like the political rally you went to, or the kind of car you drive, they just shut it down. So crypto is kind of in the antithesis of a 401k program. It's kind of like I'm actually in control of what I earned. And it's in an asset that can't be devalued and can't go away and can't be cracked and can't be censored. That's the beautiful side of it. Nobody can take it away from you. Does that make sense?
Like you can't get it if you needed it or something too. I don't know.
Crypto?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. Sounds like you can't get it. Yeah, you can get it. You're in full ownership of it at any time, day or night. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there'll be a lot of questions about that, I know. I just wanted to throw that in there just to get people's juices flowing about really what's happening. What's going on? Like they just passed the student loan forgiveness thing.
Yeah.
You see where it's going.
Somebody got to pay for it.
Somebody's, yeah. I know back in Michigan when I was, just getting ready to leave Michigan, everybody was so up in arms about everybody's, oh, it's so great. They're going to offer free college for all the, if you graduate from a Michigan high school, you're going to have free college anywhere in Michigan. Like, how's that work? Well, you just signed up an entire generation of people to go into a government indoctrination camp where they're going to learn stupid stuff like gender studies and how to cut your kids' balls off.
Right.
That's what you're going to do.
And hand out hormones.
And hand out hormones and chemically castrate your kids so that when they come out of college, they're never going to be the same person that they were when they went in. Okay, period. So that's a bad idea. But then the second thing is, I'm pretty sure the professors and the heads of the universities are not showing up and working for free that day. And I'm pretty sure that the books are still going to go through the sky on prices. And I'm pretty sure that the tuition is still going to go through the roof. So who's going to pay for all this? Well, they're just printing money and hoping you don't notice and telling you, we don't know what's causing inflation. Oh, it was inflation. Oh, it's transitory. It'll go away. Then it's up 20%. Then you can't drive to work anymore. You can't buy food anymore. And your money's going away because it's being inflated away while you let it sit in a 401k or a bank account. And they know that. So they're going to just, at some point, just push the button, reset. That's why it's called the Great Reset, by the way.
How soon are you going to do a crypto?
I don't know. I don't even know if I will, just because I don't know about the demand. I'm not going to do it for like 5 people.
Sound like you got a pretty good demand, boss.
Yeah. Put your name on a list. If you're interested in that, put your name on a list, and maybe we'll put something together in the near future, because it's the only way out of the matrix. Your dollars are going away.
All need to learn that.
Your dollars are going away. We all know it. Everybody knows. They're turning on the money printer left and right. They're shipping all the money over to Ukraine. They're giving all the rest of it to their buddies in Congress and the Senate and Washington. We didn't drain the swamp. We just blew confetti all over it, right? So here's everybody just printing money like there's no repercussion. And all the bankers are still building banks when there's been technology for 13 years that already made everything they do obsolete. It got rid of CPAs. It got rid of bookkeepers. It got rid of, financial services providers. It got rid of financial guys. This technology turned the world upside down, and it's only 13 years in. It's going to be compared to the Gutenberg printing press, because now for the first time ever, you can store your own money, send it to anybody you want. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can take it. Nobody can steal it. It's safe, and it's the speed of light. And all these financial guys are sitting around going, well, should we do something with it? Should we not do something with it? Half of them are scared to death. The other half don't know what to do. So just, if you ask your financial guy about it, he's probably going to say, don't touch it.
Aren't they doing crypto ATMs?
Yeah.
Crypto ATMs.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot.
That tells you something, yeah. But you've got to put in all your address stuff, and they take pictures of you, and they charge exorbitant fees.
Financial advisor or is it stay away from it?
I know. They all do. They all do.
They won't make any money off of you if you.
Exactly. So that's some good questions y'all should think about, and start thinking about, okay, who really controls your money? Are you sitting pretty on a 401k or a pension, or you're waiting? Because eventually what happens when that dries up or goes away? And they just push the button on it and say, nope, it's gone. Just like they did with $10,000 of student loans for every single person out there that owes almost $2 trillion. They'll do it overnight. You'll wake up one morning and you'll just go, what the hell? Where'd all my money go? It's a number on a screen. But see, if you understand the technology behind Bitcoin, particularly, and then some of the other privacy coins that cannot be tracked, then you're a danger. You're a force to be reckoned with because they can't control you and they can't. Bitcoin can be traced and tracked. That's the only downside of it. It's on a public ledger, so they know you can see. AI can track all this stuff and can see this address and this address traded Bitcoin. So it's a public ledger. That's the only downfall of it. But there are privacy solutions out there with other cryptocurrencies that allow you to do it totally untrackable, totally untraceable. Tell me if that wouldn't be a good thing for the Dutch farmers or the Canadian truckers. See, they got busted. They shut down all these Bitcoin addresses because the government could go in and see which Bitcoin address. You send $20 to one of the Canadian truckers, and now you're blacklisted because it's all an open ledger. So if you're sending it with Bitcoin, you're screwed. But if you're using other technology to send it, you're A-okay. Eventually, they'll do it to shut down. They're doing it to shut down consent right now. But eventually, they'll do it if you try to buy red meat instead of crickets.
Right.
And that's when you have, and none shall buy nor sell unless he have the mark or the number of his name. This is the way out of it. How do I know? Because 2,000 years ago, John the Revelator saw it on an island off the coast of Greece and said, there will be a day when you will not be able to buy or sell unless you worship the image of the beast. So how do I know crypto's on the way? Well, right there. And how do I know the way out of it? Right there. It's very interesting technology. It's up there with the Gutenberg printing press. It'll be mind-blowing if we make it through the next 10 years. But control your money in the meantime. Does that make sense? Good question. I'm signing off. We'll see you in 2 weeks at the Eugenics Agenda. Eugenics Agendas, that'll be, bring your tap shoes. We're going to tap dance through the apocalypse. It's going to be wonderful. Tell all your family, tell all your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your people you don't like. Get them here. We'll talk to you soon. Dr. Brett Spradlin, Divine Design, Natural Health.
Thank you.
No problem.